Salvete omnes, salvete amici, nomen mihi est Decimus Aurelius Ingeniarius, legatus propraetori Australia et tribunis plebis. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Roman Twitch channel here on Twitch, brought to you by Nova Roma. I am Decimus Aurelius Ingeniarius. It is a pleasure to be here this evening with you all. Thanks for dropping by. It's going to be a very exciting session this evening. We are finally back after about a week and a bit for episode 3 of the Republic of Rome board game broadcast. It's going to be action-packed because there are a lot of war cards on the table for those that have been watching along, and of course on our YouTube channel. If you've not seen the videos below in our VOD section, you can check out the videos on the Australian Nova Romana YouTube channel. That's where we're maintaining these episodes. And once we have concluded tonight's session, that'll also go up there in the next 24 to 48 hours as well for you to enjoy. Right, but as you watch those videos, you will see there's been a lot of war cards on the table, and we really need the Senate to get some prominent victories, both tonight and in, I guess, all future combat phases that they go through. So they're all sitting out back now, reminding themselves what it means to play this game, getting themselves prepped and ready. Of course, our dictator in the eyes of Scipio Africanus, how appropriate that he's now on board as the dictator, led by Marcus Decimus Meridius. He will be the appointed dictator, and he will jump in straight into the Senate session this evening, and likely lead off, I guess, with the censorial elections or censorial elections, depending on how you want to pronounce that C, whether you're following classical Latin or conventional English. So we're looking forward to seeing how he runs that Senate session this evening. So let's not delay any further. Let's get into the virtual tabletop environment. We are now going to take a brief pause while we transition the environment, and I'll switch my cameras over. Then we'll come back. We'll say hello to all of our senators again, and we'll get this game cracking. All right, stay tuned. Don't go away. All right, we are here. We are live. Let me make sure all the audio levels are good. All right, for all my senators there, everyone say salvete.
Salvete.
Yeah, we'll say hello to all of our viewers on the channel right now. Let's have a look. Perfect. That's good. We've got some good audio. We've got some good visuals. I can see everybody's smiling faces, and we're all in landscape this evening, I see, which is quite good. So that makes the screen look very neat for the broadcast this evening. So that's fantastic. Will be a good video. And hopefully as good as what should be the pending Senate session and combat phase. Really hoping that you guys can get a victory on the board tonight. That's very important. Right now, there are only 3 war cards on the deck. And so whether you win or not at the end of this combat phase is okay. It's if you gain more wars over the course of the next turn and end up with 4 or more wars and you're unable to do anything about that in the next combat phase, that will probably be it, and that will be game over. So very important to knock one of these war cards off the table to give yourself some breathing room this evening. So, there's no reason to delay much any further. What we will see, and I do want to point this out, I'm going to try this new shortcut feature, thanks to Poached Trout, that's one of our viewers often on stream, is I'm going to change everybody's view on the virtual tabletop, and hopefully this works. We'll see. So I'm going to show us here it's not working for me, but I'll show the viewers at home, but you guys can all see it in the center sandpit. We're going to be able to award one of our first honors and awards this evening that you guys voted in a previous Senate session, and that is the Punic War Campaign Medal. And this will be awarded not to an individual senator, because I guess that particular individual senator died in the course of the war, so it is a posthumous medal which will be awarded to his faction, and that will be displayed, I guess, in the relevant faction area. Now, normally it'd be nice to have a presiding magistrate award this to the awarding faction. In this case here, it looks like the presiding magistrate will award it to his own faction, but he can do that when he gets to other business. Sounds very dictatorial, doesn't it? Yes. Anyway, let's get cracking on. Scipio Africanus under Marcus Decimus certainly knows what he's doing. I'm going to now hand over the gavel as presiding magistrate to him to run his Senate session. Here we go. Over to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'd like to also pass forward my personal thanks and welcome back to the Senate session. The next item on the agenda, we shall be electing a censor. I believe currently we've got 2 possible senators available for that position, and I am opening the floor to hear from those two factions if they would like to put forward those senators to go for that role. House of Julia, I'll hear from you first.
Yes, well, so Picius will put his hand up to step forward. He was thinking about taking a back seat during the proceedings over the next few weeks, but with Flaminius having the role for the last 2 years, maybe it's time for a change in the way that has been run. It is quite an influential position, and I don't think it bodes well for Rome having one senator becoming very influential in that position. Originally, we were planning on having a successful Cornelius to come back and take this role, but the disasters that struck leave us in a different situation.
True. Perhaps I should ask, what is the current influence collectively for your entire faction?
The infection is 16.
All right. I'll hear from House of Incognita.
How would that be impacted if?
I would like to.
How would that be impacted if?
I would like to reenact my person as the censor, due to the fact that it has been produced wonderful results. May not be what we desire or what we need, but I believe that as censor, I believe we should skip prosecutions this time and focus our efforts to the wars, thus allowing us to have more money to be able to put forward for our knights and legions and so on and so forth. That would help us.
Mm-hmm. And can I ask, what would your faction current influence level be?
19.
19. So my thoughts upon the matter is I am split with my thinking. On one hand, we have a senator among us who is currently gaining in influence far greater than my own, which is very concerning as appointed dictator. We also have a faction within our members here in the Senate that's also growing in strength and overall factional influence, and I weigh this with heavy heart with how important every decision I make now as the appointed dictator. I personally believe it's easier to negotiate with a single senator with a high amount of influence than a faction with influence spread across many members, which would be harder to deal with in a single blow, shall I say. So I'm going to put forward a proposal that Flaminius be elected censor once again, and I will hear from House Incognita for your votes.
I put 6 votes towards.
I'll hear from Marka now.
Don't forget to unmute yourself.
I think I have 12 votes for.
I believe
I see
it says 10.
10. Sorry, I can't read it. Yeah.
No worries. The pre-Byzantine faction. Your votes, please.
7 votes for.
I shall place 10 votes for my own faction. House of Julii, I'll hear from you now.
Can I just clarify one point? When you're re-voted in, does the senator get the 5 points again, the 5 influence points?
Yes, it does.
Okay. The House of Julii votes 16 votes against.
And I'll hear from Fortune's Despair.
Yep.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Please proceed.
Oh, good. 8 votes in favour.
All right. I'll hear the tally of votes from the scriber.
So it is 41 in favour and 16 against.
Then to me that sounds like the proposal has passed, and at this stage I shall hand over proceedings to the censor for any prosecutions.
All right, so we'll just take a brief pause there, and we will allow the censor, who's maintained his position, to update his influence, which he's already doing, so he gets to add another 5. I guess the censor or Kenser is unique in that it is one of the very few positions that you can be re-elected into, having already held it the turn previous. So that's what he's doing now. Just updating the influence is very good, and I guess you can also update your total faction influence as well. You've already got the censor label there down the bottom left, which is good, and you've taken on the presiding magistrate plaque. As right, you will now become the presiding magistrate to lead this next small portion of the Senate before handing back to the dictator. Very good. Now, just for the viewers at home who are curious why there was only 2 candidates available, and that is because the censorship is only open to those senators with one of these little green prior console markers, and I'll bring that up for the viewers at home. So it looks like that little green prior console marker, and as the name suggests, it means that they have been a console before, either a roam console or a field console. And in this case, there's only 2 options available, which is Flaminius and then down there, which was Sulpicius. There we go. And so obviously our new dictator and consoles this year will also all get prior console markers as well to show that they have had some prominent leadership positions, and they'll become eligible for censor in the next round. Okay, thanks very much for that, presiding magistrate, and over to Flaminius and the House of Incognita for his portion.
Well, firstly, I'd like to say thank you for electing me as re-electing me as the Roman censor, for allowing me to stay in this position. However, I will not be using this position to prosecute anyone at this moment, as I believe we should pay attention to where we are at right now and the desperation we currently facing.
Unity for Rome.
Which would then end my turn as the prosecuting section.
There we go, nice and quick.
All right, thank you very much. I shall take back the mantle of the presiding magistrate.
Perfect.
We'll have a look at the next set of
Good.
Let's
assignments.
cheat sheet.
hide our markers and remove our corruption.
Great, and I'm very, very good that you've picked it up. So you can tell that you are a veteran censor because you recall that part of the rule. So right, as the good censor has indicated, if you have a corrupt portion currently visible on your concessions, which pretty much will be everyone who has a concession, that is, you can now slide that back in a little bit behind your senator cards to hide it. And if you have a major corruption marker on your senator, that can also be removed and put back to the nominal area on the side of the board. So nobody is corrupt anymore because the censor has deemed everybody to be innocent. He's wiped the slate clean. So, for example, Sulpicius in the House of Julii, he can get rid of that major marker. I'm good to see Fortuna's Despair is already caught up. That's good. Flaminius has wiped his own. That's good. Good. Julius has removed his. That's fantastic. And Pre-Byzantium is almost good, except for Junius. Junius can remove his major marker as well. Although, you know, it is a bit redundant considering you get that back each time as Pontifex Maximus, but we'll remove it here as a good prompter just to show that, right, everybody is in fact no longer corrupt, thanks to the good graces of our censor. Very good. Thank you for that point of interest there. Back to you, presiding magistrate.
All right, thank you very much. Just going through the necessary steps, we would now discuss electing vacancies for governors. Currently, we have no governorship available, so I'll be going on to the next steps. Any concession assignments, which we have none. If anyone has any laws that they wish to play, any priesthoods that wish to be appointed at this stage.
Yes. I would like to appoint a priesthood to Fulvius of the House of Julii.
Okay. Fulvius is honoured to be brought into the priesthood. He looks forward to working with the Pontimus Maximus and spreading the word of God, and hopefully that will have a better influence over our aversion of disasters.
Yeah. Yes. I think I speak for Mars directly when I say that the more priests we have, the more wars we're going to win, guys. So.
Well, the rumors from Sicily are that Cornelius didn't lose the war. The disaster was an earthquake as they were landing on the beaches.
Well, hopefully Mars will prevent that this time.
Yeah. And I might allow the Pontius Maximus to speak at this stage to remind everyone about the unique voting rules that comes from the Pontius Maximus and the priesthoods.
Yes. So the priest gets one extra vote on warfare-related votes. Is it going to war, I believe? So that will give the House of Julii one extra vote on the war. And I think I double my votes for my Pontifex Maximus for that as well. So, sorry, I should say that's other priests also get that as well, the one extra vote. So I think Tiberius also has a priest in his faction. So there's only two, but that's two extra votes there.
So to jump in there, you've pretty much covered. Also, while we're writing, Lucius Julius, if you want to also get a priest marker for Fulvius as well.
Whereabouts today?
They'll be on either side of the board, and they will be in the same section as the corrupt markers, the major corrupt markers, and the prior consoles.
The House of Julii doesn't have any corruption, so it's not sure where the corrupt markers
I'll move on for you. I've got them in.
Yeah, there you go. So the Pontifex Maximus is going to help you out. Right, so I think the exact wording is so on legislation that appoints a commander and or sends a forces to war. So now that's not necessarily on the raising of legions. I think it's only on the sending of forces to a war card, and they should be done as separate proposals, as we learnt from last session. And of course, the appointment of a commander. Yes. So all priests get one additional total vote on those forms of proposals. Now the Pontifex Maximus gets to double his personal votes on such proposals. So not his faction votes, gets to double his personal votes. In this case here, Junius has a total of 2 votes, and he gets to double that on those forms of proposals. So that will be 4. So in other words, with a total faction votes of 7, he gets a total vote of 9 on those proposals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Very good. All right. That's all I've got.
I think at this point as well, I'll go ahead and have a look at appointing posthumously the Punic War Campaign Medal to my own faction, specifically for my father's courageous and vicious fighting that happened upon Sicily. Unfortunately, he did not return alive, but I will happily accept this medal on his behalf and wear it with pride.
Very good.
I heard he was killed by an earthquake.
At least he stepped foot inside of the battlefield to be eligible for the medal. So right, so there you go, displayed in your faction area. That's very good. So so the most combat veteran force faction out of everybody. There you go.
Now we will be discussing, which I'm sure is on everyone's minds, the upcoming battles and wars and war-related discussions. But before that, so that we can purely focus on those proposals, are there any other minor motions that anyone would be interested in raising at this stage? If there are no shows of hands, then I'll go forward and do a general discussion on where we currently are in relation to the wars. So if I can get everyone to go have a look at the active war screen, and we'll remind ourselves. Currently, we've got 3 active wars. Namely, we have the First Punic War, which we attempted to prosecute last year, which ended up in a complete disaster for that campaign and the loss of a senator, namely my own father. We ended up drawing a leader to that war. We also gained the Syrian War, as well as a leader, as well as the Iranian War. Initially, I believe, as a group, we were discussing about prosecuting the Punic War first. Due to my own personal studies and interests when it comes to this war, we have many advantages over removing certain disaster and stalemate events that could occur. However, with a formal leader now controlling these troops, there are still certain maneuvers that could lead to issue. I've also gone through and considered the issue of the manpower shortage that we currently have. Currently, it would take twice as many talents to raise forces, and regardless of which war we do attempt to prosecute, we are likely to have to drain the state treasury to raise as many forces as we can to prosecute any of these wars. I also want to put everyone's attention to a event card that we drew, the Allied Enthusiasm, which will also gain us 50 talents in the start of the next year. I think I can make a broad statement and say that we will only be prosecuting one of these wars this turn due to the manpower shortage. So we should have on our minds that we will have 2 unprosecuted wars coming into the start of the next year, which will drain our treasury of 20 talents each. So while we will gain 50, 40 of that will automatically be negated by these effects. But at the very least, that I believe will allow us more or less to spend the 120 talents, which will be utilized to raise our forces, giving us 16 talents plus an additional 10 gained from the event card minus the 2 unprosecuted wars, which I understand would be enough to maintain the forces that we would raise during this turn. So now putting forward what we may need to raise to prosecute the wars that we have in front of us. Currently, I'm thinking the Iranian war is a war I don't want to prosecute this war. It would be the easiest one to do, but at the same time, the gains that we get initially from defeating this war is only 10 talents. I believe the other 2 wars provide a much more juicier reward of plunder from defeating those wars, as well as the concern that these wars already have leaders, and the chances of these wars gaining in strength over time is highly concerning. So I'm interested in further discussions looking at only the Syrian and the First Punic War at these stages, and there are clearly 2 big effects or 2 big differences between these 2 wars, namely the amount of support fleets that will be required for us to send for any prosecution of these wars. With our 120 talents available to raise forces with, we can only raise a maximum of 6 of these forces. And we currently have 2 flotillas, 2 fleets in our active forces pool. Therefore, if we were to try to prosecute the Punic War this year, it will require half of our entire treasury that we are putting forward to raise forces into only raising fleets to support the battle. While if we prosecute the Syrian War, we will not need to raise any fleets, and we can put all of these talents in raising 6 legions. So, to state where my mind is thinking, I think we should prosecute the Syrian War this year. Aim to try to gain the 45 talents, which is the highest plunder of any of the wars that are available to us. Also, the Syrian War has the best chance of victory. Even though we have more chances of rolling disasters and stalemates, we will not have the legion strength if we go ahead and prosecute the Punic War this turn to have a good chance, even with removing the disaster and stalemates of the war themselves. So I want to open the floor for general discussion about everything that I've said so far, and namely about if we should raise 6 legions to prosecute the Syrian War. All right, I'll open the floor.
Can I just clarify one thing? All the land bills, they're just for lowering and rest, right? There's no revenue raising from land bills. Is that correct?
Just revenue reduction.
Right. Okay. All right.
Well, I guess on the war front, I guess I play devil's advocate here. I don't mind the idea of the Syrian war, but I think that we have to be cognizant of the fact that if we fight the Syrian war, which does have 4 disaster and standoff numbers in a row that we could roll, might we be putting ourselves in a weak position if we hit one of those to not beat the Punic War next turn? Which would just set us back really far because, we would be losing extra money next round. We'd be losing forces. So I think we have to think about, that as well.
I have had the chance to. Sorry, I'll just quickly state on that. The big issue is with the Punic War, despite disregarding the disaster or stalemate rolls, there are 4 flat rolls of the dice where we just won't beat the Punic War, because we will only be having, I believe, our current forces, 6. We'll only be raising 3 because we need to add additional 3 to the supporting. So we'll be sending 9 legions against their land strength of 13 before we add the commander strengths that we'll be sending. So there'll be 4 flat rolls plus the disaster and stalemate from the leader. So there'll be 6 rolls.
Out of how many dice you roll?
3 dice. Yes.
So 18, 6, so 1/3 chance of fail. Okay.
The general math is about, we have a 2/3 chance of winning the Punic War and about an 80% chance of winning the Syrian War.
If you're interested in how we got those numbers, and remember in our Facebook group there is an Excel spreadsheet in there where you can plug in all the details of the war, whether there's a hero, who the commander might be, and the amount of legions that are accompanying that commander, and it'll punch out and do the math for you and tell you the probability based on the die roll exactly what your chances are of winning those wars. So Marcus Decimus here has had a look at that spreadsheet, and I've had a look at it with him, and they're the percentages of probability of victory here.
I had a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
Do we retain the Dictator and the Master of Horse if we successfully prosecute one of these wars for the next round of warfare?
Only if we have 3 active or unprosecuted wars. I think there's a really large chance that we'll draw another war in the coming year. And if we do, we will meet that requirement, and then we can choose to re-elect a dictator if we do choose.
There's not much difference. Well, no, you.
Sorry. My other question was whether it's possible for us to raise some forces and deal with one of the wars, and then raise another set of forces and deal with another war within this one turn, or do they have to be decided now?
We could do that, but I believe that would likely draw our forces too thin, because like I said, we will only be able to raise an additional 6 this turn, and that will max out our treasury.
But if we won the Syrian war and we netted that 45 talents,
then that would be the following.
Yeah, you've got to do it all in the same turn,
Right.
So we wouldn't be able to raise enough forces now.
all right, thank you.
Just on the retaining the dictator for next term, I think it wouldn't really matter, because if we beat one of these wars, then we can easily prosecute the Second Illyrian War, which has really low, count of soldiers that we would need, which would make it really easy. And I guess if we needed to, but there is a good, in the situation where we didn't draw a third war, we could at least prosecute that, and it wouldn't matter if we didn't have the dictator, though, of course. Fighting the Punic War, we would want the dictator. So,
and if we're going to do contributions, then we'll have more revenue for.
Yeah, I think also it's worth adding from more of a game mechanic phase. During our first turn, we returned a war card back into the deck. In the first 6 cards, we've drawn 5 cards, and that war has not been drawn. So I believe that gives us a very good, feeling.
Okay.
It's guaranteed we will draw a war unless we all roll 7s and get event cards, which maybe is just as horrendous.
So as a multi-turn strategy, if we were to prosecute the Syrian war, then reclaim the dictator and master of horse, and then use that advantage to prosecute the Punic War next time.
Yes, we could certainly see in the next turn, if we have enough forces raised, we could even do a strategy where we send the dictator and master of horse against the Punic, and then send the field consul with a smaller force over to deal with the Iranian war. Could be something we could head towards, depending on what our situation is and what we decide during that year.
Yeah, I think it's worth to note, like, obviously, if we didn't have the dictator, that would be, bad for the standoffs for the Punic War. But at the same time, in the future, we'd also have, higher revenue, so we could have higher forces and therefore prevent those worse rolls. So, we do have that potential to kind of mitigate those even without the dictator, just by the default fact that we won't have the manpower shortage. We will have some more money in, the future. So it kind of offsets that, I guess, balances it out.
Is there any kind of event that would happen that we would lose our naval victory token? As in terms of, if we don't prosecute this turn, do we lose the naval?
No, I don't. No. I wouldn't believe so. I think the only possible way is what we saw in the first turn, where we returned the war back to the deck.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to also point out with the war that the Syrian war will pay for the unprosecuted wars, but every other war will actually make us lose money in terms of what they've got. So if we do the Syrian war, we'll actually gain talents, whereas if we do the others, we'll actually lose, no matter what happens.
A question for Marcus Decumus. So I can't recall, did that probability calculator of ours, did that take into account the disaster and standoff numbers? I think it did, because you'll be facing all 4 if you fought that one, right?
Yes. It's all 4, and then of course your probability curve of rolling the die, with obviously you're more likely to be in the center. Because that's one thing to kind of note. The disaster numbers for the Syrian war are all quite high, so therefore on the shorter end of our probability curve.
Said Cornelius as he climbed up the beach in Sicily.
Hey, 13.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to take advantage of the open discussion at this stage?
No, I'm happy.
Okay.
So with the dictator and the master of horse, what are the numbers for the Syrian war?
All right. So what we'll be looking at is raising 6 forces, 6 legions. So that will bring us 6 with our additional 6 up to a 12.
Yep.
The dictator has a military strength of 5 and the master of horses 4. So there'll be 9 onto the 12, which should
21.
be a strength of 21 against our Syrian opponents at 11. So that should give us a plus 10 to our roll. If I remember from when I did the maths, it would only be if we roll 3 ones would be the only way we'd lose, or not. It'll be a stalemate. I think stalemate no losses or stalemate 1 loss.
I believe it was stalemate 1 loss.
Stalemate 1 loss is if we roll 3 ones, and then it's just the disaster numbers are the only ways we lose that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If there are no more discussions at this stage, I would like to raise the proposal that we raise 6 legions for a cost of 120 talents. I'll hear from House Julii.
House Julii votes. Forgotten how many votes they got.
17.
Uh,
No, correction. It would be
16.
16. Yes.
Six-
We're not.
16 votes for.
Fortune's Despair. I'll hear from you.
Yeah, so I will vote 8 in favour.
House Incognita.
I'll put 6 votes for.
I'll hear from you now, Marker.
10 votes for.
Thank you. Pre-Byzantine faction.
7 votes for.
And I'll add my 10 votes for as well. I'll hear from the Scriber.
57 votes for, 0 against.
All right, thank you very much. At this stage, I will be raising the 6 additional forces.
Very good. That's a very loud keyboard.
Sorry.
Yeah, no whisper there.
I don't know what's so loud.
You got a microphone built into your keyboard.
I'm not plotting behind anyone's back.
Yeah, I stream ASMR, guys, right?
Yeah. Keyboard ASMR, yeah.
Keyboard, yes.
All right, so we might run a 30-second ad break while the dictator raises those legions to the active forces box. There we go. So I think our non-subscribers will probably see a commercial right now. And we'll update the state treasury.
So I was just looking for.
Down the bottom center are all the legions under the Senate box.
Yes, I see them.
In the force pool.
I looked nearly everywhere but there.
And we're getting an extra 6, eh?
Yes.
Let's see what legions we raise.
Now let's see if I can do this. Nope.
Okay.
Would you like some help tracking those ones up there?
Nope.
There we go. Here they are.
I got there in the end.
You did. Neat. 15th, 16th Legion, 14th Legion, 8th Legion, 2nd Legion, and the 11th Legion. Okay.
All right. We back from our break?
We are. Please proceed.
All right. Thank you very much. At this stage, I will put forward a proposal that we will be sending the dictator Scipio with his Master of Horse, Fabius.
Just a quick point of interest here. So, if this proposal succeeds, that will end and conclude the Senate session.
Yes.
Can I just interrupt really quickly?
Of course, go right ahead.
Is it all right as the Pontifex Maximus if I offer a prayer to Mars before we conduct this vote and go to war?
Please proceed.
Okay, I would like to read this historical prayer, I should say, by Horace Carmina, it says, from, I believe, 35 to 40 AD. Father Mars, too long you have neglected to look upon your nation, upon your grandchildren. Alas, for too long you have been absent in the game of war. Recall your delight in the clash of battle. Come, Mars, take pride once more in the sight of Roman helmets gleaming, how the battle-hardened legions meet the grimacing Syrians in battle. Come now, we pray. Thank you.
Thank
Amen.
you very much for that.
Very good.
Amen.
Bene, amici.
Then I'll continue
fail
with my
now.
proposal that the dictator and his Master of Horse, being accompanied by all of our active forces, 12 legion, as well as 2 supporting fleets, will go forth and prosecute the Syrian war. I'll hear from House Julii first.
House Julii has 17 votes for.
Fortune's Despair.
Sorry, that was 16-4.
17. I get the one from the
17-4.
priest. Yeah.
My mistake. 8 in favour. Sorry, 7. What am I? I don't know, 8.
8-4. Quintus Octavius.
I'll put 6 votes forward.
I'll hear from Marca.
10 votes for.
I'll hear from the pre-Byzantine.
7 votes for.
And I shall put forward my 10 votes for the proposal. That will end our Senate phase. Thank you very much.
Indeed it will. Indeed it will. So, Dictator, you know what to do. If you want to, actually, we need to get your deployed commander. So I'm going to go pull out the Scipio Africanus commander card for you, so we can plop him next to the war card. And I'll bring that. I've got a deck of
Can I
cards.
just a point of order, just check Numerius as your votes. Did that include your additional war votes?
No,
To the
you're
outcome,
right.
but
Yes, you're right. So it should have been 9, I believe.
no, right, it doesn't change the outcome, of course, but good for record these things for future generations.
Yes, of course.
Sorry, proceed.
Very good.
I do not see my Master of Horse. I call for my Master of Horse.
1 second.
That is Fabius 2. I'll deploy his card now.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I've got to pull it out of a deck. There we go. ID 2. Oh, look, there he is. So do this by the books. There we go.
Excellent.
Look at you guys smashing in your armor. Let me. I'll bring this up for everybody so you can all have a look. Here we go. This is the Master of Horse in his full kit there. His Lorica Musculata. That's very good.
Polish it's ready to go.
And then of course we have our dictator here, looking absolutely stylish.
Yes.
I don't know. It looks a bit uncomfortable.
The armor looks a bit big on him actually.
He'll grow into it. It's his father's armor. You see.
Or he'll be buried in it.
Touche.
No, it was because he didn't take this armor.
Okay. So let's just double check. We've carried out some administration. First of all, I can see that Scipio Africanus has an away from Rome label on. That's very good. Marcus Decimus, if you don't mind getting one for your Master of Horse as well, considering the distance he has to travel, and if you could plop that on his card, that would be fantastic.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Just to really make it obvious for everyone here that they are in fact away from Rome.
Gone fishing.
Gone fishing, as it were. I'm just going to readjust the label to the front. There we go. That's nice. Perfect. So we can see that they are away. And normally I'd get you to adjust your vote dials, but we won't do that at this point. That's fine. we're both going to assume that you both return home safely and send the forces back to the Senate, and all will be well. Fingers crossed. So, yes, right. As the presiding magistrate has sent himself away to war, that concludes the Senate session. So we are now in the combat phase, and we've lined up our results ready to go. We're pending a 3d6 die roll in just a moment. So let's reconfirm our numbers. So what is the enemy's war strength?
War strength will be 11.
All right, and we meet the minimum fleet support requirements of 2 fleets, which we do, and there are no naval fleets to fight. Now, the rolls we'll need to avoid is a 14 through 17. They're all the bad numbers that we don't want to roll on this roll. Now, what is the strength of the Senate?
The Senate has a strength of 21 forces.
21 forces minus the 11 forces gives us a strength difference of 10. Which is a pretty strong number, base number to begin with. So essentially what we roll with the 3d6, we're going to be adding the 10 to that, which will give us our final value, but noting that the naked 3d6 roll, we don't want to hit one of those danger numbers. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to scroll over to the combat phase area, and I'm going to, for my viewing pleasure and for those at home, zoom in on the combat results table. In fact, I might do this for everybody so you can all see the results live. Here we go. So everybody's view should now be updated so you can see the combat results table with me, because this is a very important role. You'd like to get this well. Okay, so the dictator, if you've primed and ready your 3d6, make this the best roll you have ever done. We've got Mars on our side, a brilliant prayer from the Pontifex Maximus, doing his role very well. I'm very pleased to see that. My luck is with you all as well. All right, here we go. Let's roll 3d6. Let's make this happen. No. So we're going to ignore the combat results table now. And in terms of numbers you could roll, a 14 or a 16 are the worst. Yes. This is not cool.
I can't see what we rolled.
So if you look in the chat box.
Was
it in the chat box? Okay.
14.
14.
Yeah.
I was going to ask before who gets to roll.
Yeah, so normally I have the commander of the forces roll the die, and in this case then rolled a terrible disaster number. So what I'm actually going to get to do is dictate, if you'd like to crack open your rulebook and go to the section on disasters. Let's see how quick you can flick to that in the combat phase section, and I'd like you to read out the consequences of a disaster, if you can.
Let's see. The consequences part. Yes.
Here we go.
So will be the combat results is ignored. The battle is an automatic disaster, losing half rounded up of all participating Roman forces. The fleets and the legion are each halved and rounded up. The Roman commander is not necessarily killed, but mortality chips equal to the number of legions and fleets actually lost in the disaster must be drawn in order to check for his death. The unrest level is raised by 1, and the surviving Roman commanders remain in command and proconsul unless recalled or killed.
Right. So let's step through that. First of all, if I could have our Forum Quaestor update the unrest level and increase it by 1, please.
Okay, done. Okay, do that.
Good. So we're going to see the increase in unrest level. So because of the disaster, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to see half of the forces destroyed. Now that's both legions and fleets, I take it.
Correct.
All right, so we've got 2 fleets, so we're going to lose one of those. I'm just going to start pulling these aside. So we're going to lose the 3rd fleet, and we're going to lose 6 legions here. 1, 2, and this is random. 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. And these forces will stay with the card for the moment, and will stay with the war card until the next Senate session, as per normal. And the Senate gets to decide what will happen. Now, what I'd like to do is, if we could get for you there, Dictator, get a pro-consul at war marker for you and place that on your war guy out on the Syrian war.
Would we wish to roll for the mortality chits at this stage?
Yeah. I'm taking the optimistic approach here that you're not going to die.
All right.
And right, and then we have to roll. I heard mortality chits for legions and fleets, or is it just legions?
Legions and fleets.
So we're going to roll a total of 7. Yes. So once you've got your marker on Scipio Africanus up here on the Syrian war as pro-consul at war, we will then start rolling mortality chits. Now these mortality chit draws affect both the Dictator and the Master of Horse. So either a 1 or a 2 is drawn, that'll kill them off respectively.
Yes. All right. I shall proceed.
All right. So yes, let's start with number 1. Here we go. I got a 15.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
good.
I see. Yes.
Yep. Next one.
So 20
is
something.
Yeah, there's 2 there,
something?
so that's good. All right, next one.
7.
What's 7? That's a good one.
28.
Good. 2 more.
23.
Good. 1 more. Wow.
19. We survived.
You both survive. That's at least that's one positive you can take away from all of this is that despite the disaster, you both live to see another day.
That's the best roll I've done this game.
Right. Yes, indeed. Okay, so I guess the question in my mind right now is, I guess, sort of what happens to the Master of Horse. I guess because Scipio Africanus is now a pro-consul at war, having essentially staying out there. He is no longer the dictator, and then subsequently Fabius will return home. What we might double check just to make sure we're going to do the right things. I'm going to do a quick Control F here in my rulebook, and if you guys want to spot this as well, we'll have a look. Let's have a look. Master of helps if I spell it correctly. Horse. There we go. Term. Yep. Okay. So the term of the Dictator's Master of Horse lasts until the consular elections of the next game turn, in which both the Dictator and his Master of Horse must immediately surrender their officers, unless already in revolt. But they're away at war, so we won't see that. So yeah, right. So Fabius will retain his title of Master of Horse until that set of elections and until that point in the Senate, whether that'll be wiped and or retained, depending on what's happening. But he'll stay there. I think I had this discussion with somebody before, but he will inevitably return to Rome, which really happens in the next phase here. So let's do that now. So let's return Fabius home. So Fabius, if you'd like to remove your Away from Rome card from your card, and I'll remove your commander from the pro-consul for the moment. There we go. And I'll take the perished legions and fleets down to their respective graveyard.
I'll also add a new pro-consul immediately receives the prior consul marker.
Yep, absolutely. So please do that. Of course, the Master of Horse does not get one. But yes, please add a prior consul marker to your representative image back in Rome. So you'll get to hang on to that. Hopefully you'll live another day. And we'll now refer back to our cheat sheet to make sure we've done everything else we need to do here. Fighting wars. Yep. We've increased the unrest level. Anything else from that paragraph that you read out there, Marcus Decimus? I think we're nearly done.
I don't believe so.
All right.
We've done unrest.
Good. Okay, so we're now going to do the unprosecuted wars. So we're going to move the Second Illyrian War into the unprosecuted wars box, as well as the First Punic War. Down they go. So they are now considered unprosecuted. And we have no war exhaustion right now, so you guys will live there. Okay.
Don't know about that.
Let's move on to the revolution phase. So that was a disappointing outcome for the combat phase there. Hopefully we can rectify that in the coming turn. So nobody's up for voluntary retirement yet. Nobody's got the influence or the age to do so. Let's now talk about intrigue. So we're going to start always with the highest ranking available officer. Now, the highest ranking available officer is the HRAO who is present in Rome. Now, as we know, the dictator is currently not in Rome, so they are not the HRAO. So therefore, question to our senators, who is the HRAO right now?
I know.
That's me.
And why is it that person who said me, pre-Byzantium?
I'm the Rome consul.
Great, very good. So Rome console, and in fact, if you look at the Rome console token, and I'm going to pop this up for everybody to look at on screen, you'll notice Rome console has a number 2 down the bottom left-hand part of that image. That means he's the second highest rank, because the highest rank, number 1, dictator, is away from Rome. Therefore, the Rome console is the HRAO, and will now lead us in the intrigue proceedings. And of course, that means you can play or trade from your hand, and you could play concessions or statesmen's, etc., etc. So, starting with Numerius Aurelius Ingeniarius, please, would you like to play any cards at this stage?
Can you just give me 1 second?
Yeah, take your time. Not a problem. Have a look over your hand, see what you've got. Normally we're really only talking statesmen's if you're eligible to play them, and concessions. Occasionally you may have open bodyguards as well, is probably another one. And there may be some other... But yeah, have a read of the cards, because the cards will often tell you if there's a prohibition on playing them. So yeah, have a good read before you play them there.
So I'm allowed to trade with other players at this stage if we want to, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. This is where cards may be traded between players. That is correct.
I'm just chatting about trades, so...
Yeah, that's okay. That's not a problem. I'm going to see if we're eligible for another commercial. Let's do that. Yeah, we are. Cool. So all of our non-subs will probably see another commercial. We'll gain another 4 cents or whatever it is that we get for a commercial break. I can't recall.
And can I just say to people just to check your messages? I may have messaged you. I may not have.
Good. Everybody check your messages. I better go check mine in case people have been sending me messages. Let's have a look. All right. Lots of wheeling and dealing going on in the background. People making some private agreements. Aha, Poached Trout has joined us for this evening. Salve to Poached Trout. Hey, I've got a question for you too, Poached Trout. The question is, so I don't know whether you've been, or how long you've been watching for, but they suffered another defeat. They attempted to fight the Syrian War, rather, with the dictator and the master of horse and a sizable Roman force. However, they rolled a disaster number. Unfortunately, Scipio Africanus cannot cancel it. They rolled the 14 disaster number there from the hero. So they suffered, the half losses and the unrest, etc. Now, my question here actually is, so now that the dictator will become a proconsul, I assume that the master of horse now returns back to Rome, now that I guess he is technically no longer the dictator and will remain with that force at war as a proconsul. I guess it's I recall having this discussion with people like Alan, for example, about what happens with the master of horse post a defeat of a dictator in a war like this. Ideally I would have liked to have seen a victory here, but the Senate is now on a really, really precarious footing. They must only draw one war card this next round, and they must get a victory in the next combat phase, otherwise the game's over. So yeah, I haven't actually looked at the deck. That will be worth looking at. We can pretty much determine whether they get to play next week of any serious sort if they draw more than one war card in the turn tonight. Unless they can send two forces. Look, there's still a chance, but it's going to be tight. They need to defeat one war for every war card they draw in tonight's session. The current treasury, they maxed out the treasury because of the manpower shortage, so they're down at 16 right now, although they are getting 50 talents back for the state treasury because of the allied enthusiasm, which is really good. So they've got the 100 plus 50 coming back at them, and of course there's not as much maintenance because they lost half their forces, and the manpower shortage will disappear, assuming they don't get another one. But right, that's the thing, is they'll need to win one victory for every war card they draw this round in the next combat phase. Yeah.
So I am trading with another player. How do I do that?
Sure. So if you've got a card in your hand that you wish to trade, so you'll drag it out of your hand onto the playing surface. Yep. Probably if you look at their area and drag it into their area, that would be very nice for you. It'll go face down, so there won't be any risk of them somebody else seeing it. So there is I guess that I'm assuming a private deal was done, considering that there was no public chatter, which means it's not binding, but I don't want to say that out loud potentially. But anyway, a trade is occurring, so you just need to at least just tell us who the trade is going to.
It'll be in good faith, I hope. So it's going to Marcus of Justitia Merita. So I shall put that. Just wait, double check that I got the right card. 1 second.
My card is already on the playing field.
Okay, I put yours in your area. And yep, so I see my one. Okay, cool. Take.
Good. So Poached Trout has said he suggests that everybody donate all funds to the state in this coming revenue phase. And that's a tip from a fairly well veteran player in our chat right now, and it's certainly something I perhaps would suggest as well. You really want to get the most amount of forces so that if you need to, you can create two separate armies.
You also need to get that unrest level down as well.
I am also playing a red text family card.
Yep, please do. All right. So he's going to play. So I'm assuming we don't have a family card 18 on the field anywhere?
We do. It's underneath the card.
Oh, okay. So it is indeed. Very good. So you've now receipted a new statesman. So I'm going to show this for everybody. They can have a look. Let me bring this up, and we can show it to everybody at home as well. Let this load. So we've now seen the arrival of Titus Quinticus Flaminius, a statesman who nullifies disaster standoff numbers on the Macedonian Wars, but not on any leaders. Mill strength of 5, which is pretty good. Oratory of 4, which is also quite good as well. So what I'm going to do is just fix your cards for you here. Give me a moment. There we go. So now you can get all your tokens on top there, which is good. And if
What
you
was all
want to
that?
go,
Sorry, what just happened? I missed something.
so Justia Marita has just played a statesman card to the family card in his faction.
Right.
Which is
digivolving.
yes, just yes, they are evolving. Very good. Is there any other cards that the pre-Byzantium faction wants to play at this stage? Actually, you're technically Justia Marita. You can't play that one just yet. It's not your turn, but we'll leave it there for the moment.
No, I don't have anything else to play, so.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's move on to Erudite faction with Marco Wedia. Marco Wedia, would you like to play any faction cards at this stage?
I can play my red cards at this point.
Yes, you can. If you so, if you've got a concession you'd like to play, or if there's a statesman that you're eligible to play.
A card. Yes. Hang on. I just got to get my deck up.
Yep, take your time. And while you're looking at that, Poached Trout has in fact confirmed what I thought in terms of the Master of Horse. He says, based on Rule 1.10.8, the dictator becomes proconsul and the Master of Horse returns to Rome. So that's good. I recalled the notion correctly there. So that's good. We're on track with rules so far. Perfect. All right. Sounds like the Peanut Gallery is very excited. What would you like to play?
I want to play one of my cards, but how do I get it onto the deck?
You click on it and drag it to the tabletop surface.
Okay.
It'll go face down, and then you right-click and flip, and then I can adjust its positioning or order relative to tokens after the flip. Let's have a look. You're going to play a concession. That's very good. So I'm going to right-click and send it to the back for you, and if you'd like to assign that to the senator of your choice.
The middle one.
The middle one, Plateus. Yep, you can. You should be able to click and drag there. Okay, I think. Is there any other cards you'd like to play at this time?
No.
Okay, very good. Let's move on to the House of Incognita with Quintus Octavius. Would you like to play any cards at this stage?
I am very fine where I am.
You're very happy where you are? No cards from you? All right. Let's scroll down to Fortuna's Despair. Any cards from you at this time?
Yes, I want to play a concession card.
You may indeed. Alrighty, and we're going to see. Good, and let me adjust that card for you first. Send it to the back. Okay, and you can go ahead and assign that to the senator of your choice. Good to see lots of concessions. This is lots of money coming in. Hopefully, it'll go to the state treasury. All right, let's go across to the House of Julii with Lucius Iulius. Would you like to play any cards at this stage? Oh, well, sorry, from Fortuna's Despair. Is there any other cards you want to play?
No, that's fine.
You're good. All right, back to the House of Julii. Anything from you?
No, my cards were stolen.
That's right. I don't think you've got any to play anyway. And is there any other cards that Justia Marita wants to play at this point, noting that you have played one so far?
At this stage, no.
Okie dokie. Did your statesman disappear? What happened there?
Yes, something just happened. I'm not sure.
Yeah, your statesman card has disappeared. Most curious. It's not back in your hand, is it?
I may be.
I'm worried about being killed in a war.
Did it go back in your hand? Did it? There it is.
Yes,
perfect.
yes,
Good.
yes.
All right.
Yeah,
And,
not
you may
good luck
just
in
need to
that
shuffle
faction,
stuff
is it?
again.
Yeah.
let me fix up the cards for you.
He
There
just
we
did
go.
assign a military role, and he's thinking,
You panicked me there because you guys will recall when I believe it was Fortuna's Despair faction when they played a blackmail card, I think it was. Anyway, we played that card successfully eventually, but then that card disappeared right now. According to the deck, and the deck tells you where all the cards are, the card is still somewhere on the virtual tabletop. I could just not find it, right? It's not in the it's not in the discard pile. So I know it's not in anybody's hands. So I can tell you that. But when we were off session, I ripped up every piece of this virtual tabletop and moved stuff out of the way. I, for the life of me, could not find this card. So Thankfully, we don't need it anymore, but I just don't want that to happen to any more cards. So just be very careful when you're manipulating cards or moving them around. But yeah, that card will not be seen until we pack up this game.
Somebody's sleeve.
I can't wait to find out where it actually is, though.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, no, it's still out there somewhere.
Based on my experience playing large tabletop games, it's probably under the fridge.
Yes, very, very, very true.
That will be
actually, Poached Trout made a good point. He goes, "Wonder if it was resized to be very small," and I reckon that's exactly what's happened. It accidentally got resized, and it was probably by me, because I don't know whether you guys can resize cards, but I can by accident, and I reckon I've resized it and it's miniaturized itself somewhere. But that's okay. Good thing we don't need it any further from here. Right. No, nobody has 5 or more cards. I'm looking down at the bottom. No, we're all good there. We don't need to discard any. There's nobody eligible to make a declaration of rebellion because everyone's still at war and nobody's a victorious commander, and there are no governors at this point that can do that either. I'm now just going to double check my messages. I see senators are sending me messages, so let me quickly look at those. Let's have a look.
Just DM.
Right, yep, okay, good. Good, and that will conclude the end of the turn. So let's double check we've got no problems. We've got no victory conditions at this point in time. We only had 3 wars on the dial, so we're okay there at the end of the combat phase. We're really good. All right. Okay, that concludes that turn. So let's go do a mortality phase now. That sounds like a good idea to me. So, and that we actually might reprogram our break a little bit sooner, noting that we finish in the Senate phase there. So maybe. Maybe after we do the mortality phase, we might take a break. So how's that sound? So if you guys do a good mortality phase here, then we'll take a break and let you guys stretch your legs. Okay. So first of all, imminent war activation. We don't have any yet, which is good news for us. I'm just reading some messages here. Okay, good, excellent. War exhaustion. So I'm going to roll for our Quaestor, or maybe somebody can help our Quaestor out as well. We now need to age all of our wars by 1. So using the grey tokens on the left and right of the playing area, we just need to age all of our wars by 1. So the Syrian War will get a number 1, the Illyrian War will get a number 1, and the Punic War needs to swap its 1 for a 2. So between the Quaestor and maybe if the Quaestor would like to ask for some help, if we could age all of our wars, please. We'll do that now. So roll for Marcoedia and anybody who would wish to help her. Perhaps maybe Numerius Aurelius, considering you're nice and close to the wars there. So just a reminder on war exhaustion and what that means. So essentially any war that's of age 6 or more, but that's not going to happen at the end of the combat phase, means you will lose. So it means you can't have a war hanging around forever. And this only applies to active and unprosecuted wars. It doesn't apply to inactive wars because they are inactive, and that is a decision for the Senate to make at some point in the future. It's good. So I can now see that the Punic War is now 2 years old, maybe 2 decades old. Who can remember how long the Second Punic War lasted? Pop quiz. The Second Punic War was the longest. So from all our senators, how long was the Second Punic War?
17 years.
Good. Yep, 16, 17 years is the correct answer. It's a long time where Hannibal and his army went around destroying all the farmland except for of Fabius, as we learnt last session. Good. Poached Trout got it. Well done.
I didn't just Google it, by the way, guys.
Oh, well, that was some quick fingers.
Yeah.
All right, now I see 1,001's up there on the war cards. We just need to put one of those on the Illyrian War. Very good. Okay, now let's talk about aging our senators. Now remember, folks, all right, remember Patres Conscripti, our senators. Remember, everybody always seems to get this wrong. I think we did all right last week. So you need to age all of your senators by 1. Have a look at what age they currently are and just add 1 to that, okay? So make sure you're careful with what age tokens you're swapping here, and remember they're available on both sides of the board, so you don't have to travel too far, except if you're in the middle. go ahead and age all of your senators by 1. All right. So take your time. Make sure you do this well. And then I'll do a check when we're nearly finished there. While you guys are doing that, we might run another ad break, so all of our non-subs can watch some commercials while you guys age your senators. Very good. So let's have a look at a close look at our senators and see how we're all going.
Oh, where are they gone?
Out of interest, is the non-aligned Senator Claudius, does he get aged?
No, so I don't age non-aligned senators until they are associated with a faction. That's a ruling I've made. The rules might actually stipulate. In fact, I could pop those up now and have a squiz. So this is in the Avalon Hills rule set. A senator without an age marker sees a 1. Yep. Markers are equal. So it remarks as senator as a generic term. It doesn't specify aligned or unaligned. But for the purposes here, I assumed unaligned do not age, so they're coming in as fresh meat. Look, I think you could go either way. You could age them, they could die, they could go to the curia, they could come back. You could add some interesting dynamics, but having a fresh senator that you can potentially manipulate into a faction, I think is a good idea. So I've chosen for our rule set that we're not going to age unaligned senators for now. Okay, who has finished aging their senators? Give me a yay.
Yay.
All
Yay.
right. Let's have a look at pre-Byzantium, moving in. All right. So we now see Fabius is 4. Your oldest is the Pontifex Maximus at 6, and Calpurnicus is 5. Okay. I'm assuming those other tokens aren't yours. They're in transit, are they? Yep. Good. I see that Marta is still working on hers. That's fine. House of Incognita, how are you going? Let's make sure I can still hear him. He's muted himself, but give me a thumbs up. You good, Quintus Octavius? Yep. Let's see. 4, 5, 6. That's looking good. Let's go down to Fortuna's Despair. How are you going? You're all finished? 4, 5, 6. Looks pretty good to me. Excellent. Across to the massive faction, House of Julii. You had a big job. How did you go?
Yep, I'm all right.
Good. New Terentius is now aged 1. Yep, very good. The Cato the Elder is now middle age. Aurelius being the oldest now 6. So we're going to have a few elder senators next round. Down to Justia Marita. Cornelius Scipio's 2. Oldest is Valerius with 6 years of age. Very good. It appears that... let's go double check on Marcoedia. How are you going, Marcoedia? The Erdite faction, 4, 5, 6 looks pretty good to me. The oldest now being Platius, our shipbuilder with 6 years of age. Okay, we've now aged all of our senators. Very good. All right. What we might do now, senators, is give you all a little bit of a break, a little bit of a leg stretch. Go refresh your brews. For everybody else in chat, look, don't go away. Stick around, watch some commercial breaks. Have a chat with me in chat. We can discuss strategy and how they're going, and they'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we'll continue on with the all-important forum phase, which will dictate how these guys, or the revenue phase rather, and then on to the forum phase, and that'll determine how they go in the coming Senate and combat phase. So stick around. It'll be a 5-minute break. All right, we are back, welcoming our senators back from their break. They are just sort of licking their wounds after we all suffered another disaster. I was just reminded by the dictator and Marcus Decimus that they actually hit a disaster on their first war last round as well, which is just astounding. Really, really unlucky. We continue to talk about, are the dice truly random? Are they rigged in some way? But the dice engine that's used on Roll20 is quite good. It is a very even distribution when you consider the concept of a 1d6 there. It's just really, really unlucky that they've that they rolled the numbers that they did. So as we've worked out in the coming forum phase, for every war they draw, they must obtain a victory in the following combat phase. Otherwise, it's game over when they reach the end of that next combat phase. Because if they have more than 3 wars, active or unprosecuted, at the end of the combat phase, they are invaded, they succumb to wars, and they all lose. So this is tight, and the next everything counts going forwards from here. So things that the senators will be considering is donating as much of their personal revenue to the state treasury, so that the Senate, if need be, can raise more than one army, which is probably highly likely. In fact, they'll probably want to do that anyway, so they can, particularly if they only have to fight one particular war, they have maximum opportunity of defeating that war. They just want to hope they don't get any manpower shortages. And right, the number of war cards they draw is to a minimum. They already know they're getting one if because they got rid of that war in the previous round, thanks to the one of the event cards that come through. So we know what the next war card is, and we know that it is going to be the next card drawn. But yes, we'll deal with that and cross that bridge when we get there. First of all right, let's get into the revenue phase, everybody. Poach Trout just quickly asked what the unrest level is at. It's currently at 4. That's pretty high now. Currently got an unrest level of 4. So some victories will be very important going forwards. All right, personal revenue, folks. Look, you guys know how this works. A quick reminder, your faction leader gets 3 talents. Every other plain senator gets 1 talent. You also get a talent for each knight. The Pontifex Maximus rolls an additional 1d6 talents on top of his 1 that he'd normally get as well. And don't forget to take your concessions as well. So read your concession cards, make sure you take the appropriate money for your concessions and pool that all together, and then you can distribute amongst your senators and your faction treasuries as you see fit. What I would recommend, and then you guys haven't discussed it, perhaps it's a good time to make a public deal amongst yourselves if somebody wants to initiate this conversation, is to accumulate most or all of your wealth onto a single senator so that you can A, donate it to the state treasury, and B, benefit from the thresholds that you garner from those and gain influence. So yeah, don't forget about those numbers. But perhaps it may be worth having a good discussion to try and get everybody to make a public agreement to donate money to the state treasury, so that you can really be sure to give yourselves the maximum chance possible to fight one or more wars coming up. Right, so do that now. Concessions, knights, 3 talents for faction leaders, 1 talent for every other senator. Don't forget to reveal the corrupt portion of your concessions as well, as you're taking your concessions too, okay?
I'm rolling 96.
And particularly if you are the highest ranking available officer, aka Rome Consul, you want to make sure that you can probably, or for anyone, can sponsor games as well to bring that unrest level down, so you guys don't get smashed by unrest levels. So you also need to consider that too. So between...
You just talk through the consequences of unrest levels.
So if you roll bad on an unrest on the State of the Republic address, so that could end up with more manpower shortages, and that's why it's how you guys got it last time is rolling a poor State of the Republic that got you a manpower shortage and an increased unrest level.
And if I remember correctly, that the current unrest level is a negative modifier to that roll.
Yes, correct. So if you roll whatever you roll 3d6, the unrest level will detract from that roll.
Yeah, right.
So, as a discussion you all need to have now is you need to discuss who's going to be paying money to the state treasury, who's going to be funding games, to ensure that you can also reduce that unrest level down. Because, right, you may get lucky and you might win some wars potentially, which will, again, help with your unrest level. But when you hit that, you don't want to be hitting another manpower shortage. So you also perhaps want to keep a look at that unrest level as well. So have a discussion now.
Okay.
I also just want to confirm, because I'm away from Rome, I don't earn any income from my faction leader.
Yeah. So all senators will earn their income, irrespective of whether they're in Rome or not. Yeah. But you won't be able to spend it though. So perhaps it'd be worthy giving it to another senator.
Yes.
Because you can't spend it if you're not in Rome to spend it.
on fleets built, we don't have any fleets built, so I don't collect any money for that one.
Yeah,
yet.
good. I'm glad you're reading your card. So you've got the shipbuilding concession, and I'm going to bring this up for everybody to have a look at. So if everybody pauses what they're doing for just a moment.
Yeah, I had that one last year.
So I'll bring this up open now. Very good that you're reading this. So I'm going to bring this up for everyone at home. So shipbuilding, it says immediately collect 3 talents per new fleet built. So, right, you have to wait until fleets are built in order to collect on this concession. So this concession will actually remain uncorrupt for the moment until you do, in fact, collect.
Okay, but then still don't collect until this phase. I don't collect on it when we're actually building them?
No. So this card states otherwise. So that was a good question. But if you get to the Senate phase and a ship is built, you will actually collect money at that point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this is one of the exceptions that a card is stating. So. And look, I'll help you. I'll put that back behind Plateus there. So he will remain uncorrupt until at such time you claim when a ship is built. Okay.
All right. I think we're also going to do some open discussion about what we should do generally with the amount of personal revenue that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
I think the senator who will be doing the state of the population address, sorry, is it?
State of the Republic. In the population
State of
phase.
the Republic address should be the first person to host some form of games. That will also increase their popularity, which will also be a positive modifier to that role.
Okay, so that's me as the Rome consul, correct?
Correct.
Okay, well that's Copernicus, who already has 1 popularity. So if everyone's happy, I will donate to a game to get it down. I'll probably do the I think it's the blood sport, Bloodfest. So that'll
probably the full gala. Gladiators gala.
Oh, I do have 18. Yeah, you're right. I can do that.
So
I can do that.
Point out we currently have a collection total of 78 visible talons between every player.
Oh, really? You did the count, did you? Good on you.
So we can do quite a few things here.
So
where's the games table?
There's one on the bottom left. It's down at the bottom left on the forum phase underneath.
That's it.
Oh, thank you.
I'll also personally state in front of the Senate, I have no hidden funds.
Yes, I'll do the same. I have no hidden funds.
Nor do I.
They said.
Yes. So back to the thing. I can afford to do the Gladiator Gala, which will knock the unrest down by 3.
Very good.
Put my popularity up to 4, which will be pretty good for rolling for the State of the Republic. And then I guess as a public deal, I'm happy to donate my remaining talents, which is only 3, to the Treasury. So that would mean that others would probably have to donate to the Treasury. Though it depends about how low we want the unrest to go, because we could probably go for one more.
That was going to be my next statement. I currently have a senator. If that could be elected a dictator again, if people begin to trust my roles after my previous examples. If we do want to knock the unrest level to 0, it's probably best to then have the senator that's most likely to be elected as dictator, who would then be the senator who will be doing the State of the Republic address the following turn. To then have their popularity increased, and therefore have a positive modifier for that role as well.
Yeah, so then if you do a second game, that'll drop it. Can our unrest level go negative as a point of order?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess you could, we need to maximize the money for our fleets.
If we would like to bring it down to a neutral level, we can be left with 53 to spend, which will still give us enough to donate.
I just want to double check. I don't think the unrest level can be anything less than 0.
Yeah. That's what I assumed as well.
Time.
So
it can't go less than 0.
If you just donate the 7,
which would leave us at 53.
53, and put our unrest level at 0.
All right, so unrest level will have 53. What would be the combination of those two numbers? What we would have in the treasury, and if we got down to a neutral number?
So it'd be 50 for Allied Enthusiasm, 100 for the start of the turn, 50 for 53 again for that. So that would be 219, I believe.
All right. So
And then,
so we're positive 9 when it comes to respect of being able to pull forces from that.
but
Why
then
don't
well,
in
we've
that
got
But
to-
you also got to take in consideration we're going to be losing 76 talons total.
for
Okay,
the wars
yeah.
and the upkeep.
Can-
So.
with the idea that we go to a neutral state, therefore I'll hold a slice and dice.
Mhm.
What would be our resting amount? I'm just mainly interested to see what would be our number as a remainder if we were to use those numbers to raise forces. I'm kind of just thinking to myself is if I use additional talents to possibly do a blood feast, that will increase the popularity of a possible senator during the next turn's doing the State of the Republic address, giving us a better shot without removing any forces from our current turn.
Yeah, well, I guess the issue with that is that you would be spending the extra money on that that we can't use for forces in the immediate
Yeah,
turn
well, that's
when you're not the person doing the address. Maybe that would be best for the next turn.
well, that's why I was only considering if it was a remainder that we wouldn't be able to use for forces. Certainly, if it would take away a force, then we shouldn't do it.
So we would be left with a total of the 90 that we would have remaining from the paying of the troops and legions.
Yep.
And you would have the 53, which we can also donate. But the question is, who would donate it? Because there would be the influence.
Well,
My personally thought about that would be Tiberius Cornelius, seeing as he has the lowest influence out of everyone, which would help him.
well, I imagine
Wow.
just everyone.
I think that's
would
a
just,
splendid idea.
I was just imagining that each faction would just choose one of their own senators to donate to the.
Yeah, it's just contribution, right? If you contribute 10 talents, or I've got 11, so you just do it as a contribution.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
could contribute your own amount.
Yeah, that's
Well,
all I
because we-
was imagining.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Cornelius Octavius, you're saying we would have like a remainder of 90 plus 53?
90 plus 53 we would
Okay.
have, and that would be without donating anything to the state. Like, no donation. If we donate everything we have right now to the state treasury after
Yes.
we host the games,
Yes.
we would have 90 plus 53.
Yes, so the remainder would be 3, and therefore, if I were to host a higher game, we would lose a force. Therefore, I will not, and I'll choose to host a slice and dice.
That is
Oh,
with
yeah.
hosting games, I'm saying, by the way.
Yes.
Like, we can host out the 18 game and the 7 game.
Yes,
That would only
yes.
cost 25. We would still have 53.
Yes. I understand what you're saying. I think we should
But
host those two sets. Sorry, yes, go on.
So the manpat shortage is gone, so they're 10 each now, right?
Correct.
Assuming
So we'd be able to have
this
140.
upcoming State of the Republic address, we don't get another manpower shortage.
Yeah,
Who's
well,
rolling for it?
Or any
that'd be
events.
me, but with the me hosting the the Gladiator Gala, my popularity goes up to 4, I believe. Plus,
Yes.
with the 2 games, we'll go down to 0 unrest. So the
Yes.
4 plus the 0 will give us a really good chance of getting at least a positive roll on that.
Agreed.
As long as I roll physical d6.
I am willing to also give you enough talents to do the second game as well, so you can gain the extra popularity.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what we need to do? Is that what works out the best for us?
The best would be doing the
because I can afford the
18 and the 7. That's the cheapest alternative.
Yeah, so I mean, but is it best to do it all on me? I'm happy. I can pay for the Gladiator Gala right now.
You would be.
I think the only
person
issue with
rolling.
doing that is I don't think your senator would be the highest ranking member who would go off to war.
Yeah, so for
'Cause,
next turn,
we
it
wouldn't-
might be better to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Marcus was saying before, for his character, since he likely will go to war as a dictator, considering we do have the 3 wars still.
I think if we were going to move talents around, it would be to do a blood fest between the 2 senators. But I think at this stage, I think it's happy if we just do the gladiator gala and the slice and dice.
Yep.
So just some points from me, I guess. Yeah, don't spend any more on gladiator games than you need to bring that unrest level down to a reasonable number. So noting your Rome consul who's going to give that address already has a +1 popularity, so that's a good start. And if you to bring that unrest level even down so it's back to 1, say, is better. I mean, 0 is even better, but yeah, don't spend any more on games than 0 because you can't go less than 0 on an unrest level. And then you really want to spend as much as you can back into the state treasury to allow yourselves to build as many forces or multiple forces as possible, right?
That is true, particularly since we know that we're going to have a remainder of 3. If I don't host the slice and dice, which is a cost of 7, that would actually round us back up to be able to raise an additional force. I think that's
and you guys brought it up. It makes sense too that if you're willing, giving all that money for the games to the Rome consul so that he can not only benefit from raising his popularity but also reducing the unrest level as well. It's a double win, right? Because that means there's even a greater probability of a better roll outcome for that State of the Republic address.
Yeah, and I think if we get into a point next phase where we will have a dictator dealing with an unrest during the revenue phase, we could look at transferring talents to be able to host those games next turn. Yeah. So I think that's very much a good way to approach it. Let's just have our current Rome consul hold a gladiator gala to give us an unrest of 1, and then we'll just go with the positive. Will it be 4?
Should flip the 4 and the negative points. That's a +3 still.
That's good.
Yes, agreed.
Yep.
And by doing so, we gain an additional force.
Yep, if we need. All right. Well, as I said, I'm happy to do the Gladiator Gala and then commit as a public deal the rest of my funds to the Treasury. So I guess that's my deal. So I'll leave it to everyone else to agree what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm happy to do my 11 talents to contribution as a contribution.
I'll deal my 19 talents to the state.
I plan to put all mine to the state.
Yeah, I'll put in all mine as well, 16 in total.
So the only one we haven't heard from is Marcoedia.
Yes, I think I have 14 in total to give.
Okay. So I guess to make sure you recall what the minimum thresholds are to gain influence. So for those that are just donating to the state treasury, maxing out a single senator, making the single donation is probably the best way to go so you can benefit from any influence thresholds.
Is there a table that shows that?
Yeah, there is. If you go down to the revenue phase, and it's also on your cheat sheet as well. So if you have a look here.
It's just 10 and 25 talent.
Correct.
It's also 50 as well.
Yeah, who's got 50 right now?
If we put it all together, we can have 60 talents total on the one person, which I would say would go to Tiberius Cornelius, as he has the lowest influence.
You could technically do that. Whether that's warranted, perhaps, is another point. Okay, so sounds like everyone's in agreement that they're going to give all their money to the state. Just where that comes from on a specific senator, I guess, is still up to you guys. So sounds like that's a public binding agreement. So anybody that shirks on the deal and doesn't give any money is up for problems. So now, is there any other redistribution that needs to occur for the Rome consul? You guys, everybody happy with the money within their respective factions right now?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. All right. So moving on. So everyone's received the personal revenues. There's no provinces to develop. All right, let's start doing. Now, I'm going to help out and keep so we're not having to move tokens repetitively here. I'm just going to keep a running tally on the state treasury here, and then we can change tokens. So the Quaestor and I will do this simultaneously. So first of all, The state revenue, we're going to get 100 talents there. We also see that we've got the event card, which is going to give us 50. Next from here, we're going to start finally looking at those contributions. So let's start with the highest ranking available officer for the moment, which is with Pre-Byzantium. Are you making any state treasury donations right now?
Yes. So it doesn't matter for influence, but my Junius will be donating 3 talents to the treasury.
3 talents from you. Very good. But right, you didn't receive a threshold. Okay, let's go across to Markawedia. Markawedia, are you making any donations to the state treasury?
Yes.
All right, and how much are you putting through?
14.
14 to the state treasury. All right, good. So if you want to start dragging those off to a bank on either side of the board, let's go to the House of Incognita. How much? Now, you got 14 there, so you're actually eligible as well for 1 influence for that senator, Plautius. So make sure you increase his influence to 3. So if you grab yourself a number 3 token. In fact, I'll do that for you because I can see a 3 right now. So bear with me.
Thank you.
There you go. So you don't have to worry about his influence. You just have to get his money to the bank. All right, House of Incognita, how much are you donating?
I'll put 8 towards.
You're putting 8 towards. All right, I'll add that to the tally that I've got here for the state treasury. That also gets you an influence. Does it?
That
No.
does not.
Unlucky, sorry. Let's go down to Fortuna's Despair. Which senator is making your donation?
Achilles will give 16.
All right, and that gets you an extra influence, so he'll go to 5, and I'll add 16 to our running tally. Very good. Across the House of Julii from you.
Is anybody giving 9? Because I've got 11, so I could give somebody 1.
No one.
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm House of Julii is contributing 11.
Okay. All right, and make sure you increase Cato the Elder's influence by 1, so he'll get a number 2 on his card now. Let's have a chat about Justia Marita. What are you donating?
I'll be donating 20 talents.
20 talents.
It went up by 1 from my last statements because I remembered underneath my Away from Rome card, I have a knight, which would have given me an additional talent.
There we go. All right, so you get an extra influence on your senator there as well to add that up. So I think that's all the contributions so far. So let me do a tally and then I can check that against the Quaestor's math and let's see how we go. So I'm just going to add this up now. Okay, I've got a final tally. Quaestor, how about you? What have you got as a tally so far?
I forgot to write it down as we were going.
Oh, okay. So
I was distracted dragging my coins back and forth.
All right, that's okay. So I'm going to read these out and we'll just check your math on the go. So we've got, and anybody else that wants to do this, we've got 100 plus 50 plus 3 plus 14 plus 8 plus 16 plus 11 and plus 20. And let's see what you get, and I'll compare that to my number.
Plus 8. 15.
So it looks like Quintus Octavius has done some math as well, and it appears our numbers agree. Great, so we're all in agreement. Plussing the 16 that's already in the state treasury gives us a total of 238. So good, our maths has all worked out. So we now got the starting top figure for our state treasury. So we won't bother updating that just yet. We've got to do our debits first before we start moving tokens. But we've had 3 people agree on the numbers, so all of our math is correct, unless all 3 of us are wrong, which is unlikely. Okay, so let's talk about debits. So minus 2 talents for every active legion and fleet. Let's go up to our area where they are. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He does indeed call for minus 14 from that tally. And we've also got to minus 40 talents for the 2 unprosecuted wars. So it's currently minus 44. And there's no land bills to worry about. So we just need to take 44 from 238, and that will give us our final tally. What's that as a number?
194, is it?
I believe so. That's what I got.
Yep, I think that's about right. 194 talents. All right, so if the good Quaestor, or if somebody wants to help you, change our state treasury in the purple box from 16 to 194. That's a good, relatively healthy budget to start with. Well done, everybody. Hopefully that's enough. While we're working on that, I'm going to remove...
minus 20 for the active war.
Yeah, you might be right there. Yeah, so yeah, you've got to take another 20 talents off that. So that'll be 174, right?
Yep.
Yes, good pickup. I was seeing what we could get away with there. 174. That's expensive business, war. Well done. Bonus.
Doesn't the state and rest? Didn't we have games?
No, that hasn't occurred yet.
Oh no. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Soon it will.
Yeah.
All right. So we're looking to put 174 into the state treasury. How you going, Mark Rewedia?
Yep.
Are you all right with that?
I'm going. I'm just very slow.
Yeah, it's okay. Just remember, my tip is, grab your 2 tokens from the area, then zoom all the way out. That way you can see your target area where you want to drag them to, and then you can drag them to the area, and then you can zoom back in to make the final adjustments. Thanks to Pharaoh Crab, who's I think he's done a host there, was it? Good on you there, Pharaoh Crab. Thanks for joining us this evening. Our senators need all the good luck, the hope, and support they can get.
Oh my God, did I just move a whole lot of them?
I can't see right now. Which side of the board are you dragging from, left or right?
From the left. I think I've accidentally just selected a whole lot.
Well, just unselect them and just grab your yep. Oh boy, yep. You've Justia Marita's faction's just gone for a walk.
Oh no.
All right. So what we'll do is, Mark Weddy, if you'd like to just leave it, and we'll let Justia Marita fix his faction.
So sorry.
Yep. And then if I could ask,
selected, should I try and move it?
No. It's fine. No? If you just leave it, we'll help you move tokens from here. So if I could ask Pre-Byzantium with Numerus Aurelius, if you could please update the state treasury.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, you just gotta so everything that you highlight with the box will of course be picked up and moved.
What was the final number? Sorry for the.
It is 174. Yep. So one of the tough things about the digital interface is the token interaction makes things a little bit difficult. There's another token to get rid of there.
Okay, treasury. Oh, somebody's already done it. Oh,
well done. Good teamwork. We'll just get Marcus Decimus a moment to fix his faction there. There we go. Okay. Land bills are back. Good. Treasury containers are back. Good. Those numbers are back. All right. I think we're okay there. Is there anything else missing? Doesn't look like it. Anybody got some rogue tokens in their play area? Are you missing anything there, Marcus Decimus? Doesn't appear to be. You think you're all right? Good. Okay. The treasury is good. Remove the old event. That's now taken care of. And there's no governors to talk about either. So that'll conclude the revenue phase. Poached Trout here says the Senate is on pins and needles. This is how I like early Rome games because if you survive, you feel like you've accomplished something. Pharaoh Crab says one of the good things about waking up so early for work is that I can actually catch the streams now. Oh, there you go. Awesome. And thanks to Unknown Star for the beverage time. I've nearly run out of tea, actually. All right. Okay. Very good. I think we've concluded the revenue phase. All right. So just a positive Marcus Decimus. Are you okay with your faction now? Good. Okay. Let me just check some of my audio levels over here. Good. Everything's where it should be. All right, good. Revenue done. Now, the forum phase. This is where things start to get exciting again. You guys want to draw the smallest amount of wars as possible, because remember, for every war you draw now, you must get a victory in the next combat phase, otherwise you face losing the game. Okay? You already know you're getting one. All right? So that means it's already one war you must win in the next combat phase. Must. Which will be the next card draw. So, always starting with the highest ranking available officer, which is currently the Rome consul, because the dictator is out of Rome right now. We're going to do the initiative step. So, pre-Byzantium, Numerius Aurelius, go ahead and roll your 2d6.
Give me a second to get ready for the good luck.
Take your time.
Good luck. 2d6.
Here we go again. We get a 6. It's not a 7. Now, that's a card draw, but we know what the next card is, and I'm going to drag that down for everybody's benefit. Well, I'm going to drag it to the active wars box, and I'll show everybody what that is, and everybody at home. Shift Z. It's going to come up on your screen now. It is the First Gallic War. This looks familiar. We've seen this before. Has a strength of 10. Doesn't require any naval support whatsoever, or a naval battle for that matter. And the danger numbers are 13 and 15. So everybody needs to not think about that unlucky 13 number, because that seems to be your favourite numbers, is those disaster rolls. If you defeat the Gallic War, you will get the province of Gallia Cisalpina as a reward, as well as the 20 talents. Okay, so that is the war card that has been drawn. So already you guys are now up for one absolute must victory in the next combat phase. So hopefully you don't draw any more war cards, fingers crossed. Oh boy, this is going to get nervous. Okay, let's finish off your initiative. Would you like to make a persuasion attempt this turn?
No.
Are you sure?
A persuasion attempt? Yes.
Yes. Okay, I just want to confirm. You don't want to look around the playing area first before you make a final decision. Well, I get a Pharaoh Crab has paid their Roman taxes. Thanks very much for the sub. Great to have you back, Pharaoh Crab, with the tier 1. Good on you. 3 months now. Fantastic. So, sorry, what was your answer? I got distracted by money and subs. You're okay. All right. I asked. Okay. Knights. Would you like to roll for a knight?
Of course.
Okay. Who will be rolling for a knight today?
Let's say Calpurnicus.
All right, Calpurnicus is going to roll for a knight. I'm assuming you're not donating any money for this, because that's all saved for the for the game. So go ahead and roll your 1d6 and let's see if you get lucky today. No, completely unlucky. No knights for you. Would you like to change? Oh, sorry, this is where you get to change a faction leader. Would you like to do that at all?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and sponsor those games. And now you're doing which one?
The Gladiator Gala, I believe.
Which is 18 talents, is that right?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to see the unrest level reduced by 3. So if I could have Marcus Decimus of Justia Marita, if you could please adjust the unrest level, please, from 4 to 1. And you can also, for pre-Byzantium Numerius Aurelius, make sure you increase the popularity there of Calpurnicus now from his current value up by 3 popularity. For I think it's a total of 4 now, right? Which is very good. And that'll be great for the State of the Republic address. All right. Give him a moment to do that. Done. And he's banked all his money. Fantastic. That concludes your initiative step. Okay. All right. 1 down. Okay, let's go to Marcawedia, the Urdite faction. Hello, how are you going? Are you ready?
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to roll.
All right, go ahead and roll your 2d6. Let's see what you get.
Let's go.
The load, here we go. Dice are out on the field. It is a 6 again, so no event card, but we are going to draw from the deck. Okay, so just a reminder, I'm going to reveal the Early Republic deck for you. Remember to hover over the deck. Don't click on it. Hover over the deck. You'll see a little window pop up and it says to draw, I think. with the window that pops up, stick a 1 in the box, hit enter, and that'll enable you to take a card into your hand, okay? So bear with me a minute. It'll appear down the bottom right. Okay, it's there. Hover over the deck. Don't click on it. Hover. You'll see the deal, I think, pop up. Click on the deal. Then put a 1 in the box and hit enter. And then you should be able to draw a card into your hand.
Yeah.
Looks like you've clicked on the deck.
Sorry.
Okay, the card is in your hand.
Great.
Okay, very good. Now, is it a red text or black text? I think I saw what it was anyway. So is it a red text or black text card? I will confirm with you.
It's red.
Good. All right, you'll keep that private. That is for you to keep and hang on to for now. All right, so let's go through. Would you like to do a persuasion attempt?
Am I able to try and persuade Claudius in the middle there?
Absolutely you are, and I'm pleased you're having a go. So, who would you like to do the persuading with? Who is your persuader?
Okay. Shouldn't I pick the person with the highest influence?
That would be a wise decision.
Okay.
And that would be who?
I'm just slow to get the thing
That's okay.
rolling up, and it doesn't seem to work.
What's the problem?
I'm just slow to get back to my area.
Oh, you're playing area? Yep, okay.
Yeah, and zooming in. I just really struggle with the thing. I'm pretty sure it's Julius from memory.
I think you're right. It is Julius there, and he has 9 influence, which is very good, and you're going to be persuading Claudius. So we're going to go to our cheat sheets and look at our equations there, and we're going to go through and consider... so we've got the oratory of Julius, which is 3, plus his influence, which is 9, for a total of 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so we've currently got 12 there, and then we're going to minus the target senator's loyalty rating, which is 7. He's currently got no treasury talents on him at the moment, and he's not aligned. So therefore, we're going to get a base number of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's a base number of 5 right now. Does that math sound correct, everybody? 12 minus 7?
Yep.
Good. Okay. So at this point in time, I'd ask you if you'd like to make any bribes. You can't because Julius doesn't have any money on him right now. So you're not going to make any bribes. So you need to roll less than or equal to 5 on a 2d6. Okay. So go ahead and roll 2d6 and get less than or equal to 5 to see if you can persuade Claudius. You get close but no cigar, 7. So Claudius will remain unaligned for now, but that was worth the go, and it didn't cost you any money, so that was a good decision to make. Always worth having a go at an unaligned senator. Would you like to attract a knight?
5? Oh, no. Yeah, I would like to roll for a knight, but I just was checking. Didn't I roll a 5 on that, not a 7? Or am I going crazy?
No, 6 and 1.
Oh, 6
No,
and 1?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a 6 and 1. Yep, and it's in the chat. The chat will confirm
in the
your roll
chat,
as well.
okay, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, that's good. Good to check.
Yes,
Good to check.
Roll for a knight. Yep.
Yes. Who would like to roll for a knight today?
Aurelius.
Alias, yes, certainly. Go ahead and roll a 1d6 this time, and you want to get a 6. Come for a good roll. Oh, unlucky. Another 1. So no knight there. Would you like to change your faction leader?
No, thank you.
And you won't be sponsoring any games, so that will conclude your turn there. All right. Let's go across to the House of Incognita. Quintus Octavius, please go ahead and roll your 2d6 to initiate your initiative. You will also roll a 6. Wow.
And you're saying the roll 20's got a good roll. What are the chances?
Yeah,
3 6 out of 2.
Notice
That's-
that's sketchy here.
So that's a card draw, but we've already got a card here, which is one that we found random, and I did the checks, and this card is and should be played. You're going to draw the card. I'm going to put it in your play area. It's currently face down. I'd like you to pick that up, and you can tell us whether it's red text or black text.
He's forcing a war card. He's cheating.
Is that a red text or a black text? It is a red text. That's good news for everybody, right? So No, I didn't rig that. That was there before, and I'd rolled some dice off screen as to where we were going to put that card back in the deck, because that was that random one that we found lying around. So that's a private card for you to keep. So let's go into the rest of your initiative. Would you like to make a persuasion attempt today?
Yes.
Who would you like to persuade? I'm assuming it would be Claudius, is it?
No.
All right. Who would you like to persuade?
Well, yes. Of course, persuade.
And who will be doing the persuading today?
My lovely Flaminius.
Great. So he has an influence of 19, plus his oratory of 2 will give him a 21, and that will be minusing the 7 of Claudius, which will give us a difference of, maths, everybody?
7 minus 21 is 14.
14? Does that sound right to you, everybody?
Yep.
Right, so we currently have a...
No need to roll.
No, you still need to roll, because you need to roll. You need to roll less than 10, right? So a failure on a. So if you have a look at your cheat sheet there, it says the persuasion fails if it's greater than 9. All right, so you still need to roll less than 9 on a 2d6. So if you'd like to go ahead and roll 2d6 there, please, Quintus Octavius. Yes, you did. So go ahead and grab Claudius. He's now yours with a roll of 6. That's
Surprise, it's another 6.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. It's another 6. That's amazing.
And watch me roll a night, and it's going to be a 1.
That's awesome news. We see, wow, that's quite the name. Clout Gang Click Like has come in with a Prime sub. Thanks very much for the Prime sub there. Welcome to the community. Thanks for paying your Roman taxes. Great to have you on board and watching. Yes, hopefully that'll help our senators here as well.
Thank you. That happens to be me.
Yeah, thanks for the Prime sub. That goes a long way. Thank you. And welcome in. We're glad that you're here. So, yes, so House of Incognita now gains another senator with Claudius with a successful persuasion attempt there by Flaminius, an influential senator. Let's finish off the rest of your initiative step. Would you like to change your... we'll roll a knight, rather. Would you like to do that?
Yes, I would.
Who will be rolling for a knight today?
I would have my lovely Flaminius again.
Flaminius, please go ahead and roll your 1d6, and you're looking for a 6 today to obtain victory.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a 1 like everyone else.
No, you're going to get a 2. Unlucky. Would you like to change faction leader?
Oh, no, thanks.
And finally, you're not going to be sponsoring any games because there's no more money left to talk of. Okay, down to Fortuna's Despair. Okay, fingers crossed, everybody. Let's roll that 2d6 there, please. Tiberius Cornelius. See what he gets. Tension rising. It's going to be a 4 this time. Okay, so again, instructions. I'm going to reveal the Early Republic deck for you. Hover over the deck. Don't click on it. Hover. You'll see the little window pop up and click the draw link. Then stick a number 1 in the pop-up box that comes up, and then that'll pop into your hand, okay? And you're looking for whether it's red text or black text. So here comes the Early Republic deck on the bottom right. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, you've got a card. All right.
It's a black card.
Black card, please place it in the sand pit for all to see. And flip her over. And I'll zoom in for everybody to have a look at. So it is a enemy leader. So thankfully it's not a war so far. It is Philip V of the Macedonian Wars. He adds a solid +6 strength to all Macedonian wars. And the card gives us a clue. In fact, there are 4 Macedonian wars out there. Not necessarily in the early Republic, but across the 3 eras. And he has disaster numbers with 15 and a standoff of 14 there. So now, do we have any Macedonian wars on the books right now?
We do not.
We do not. So right now, he's currently lost and vacant. So he's actually going to go into the Curia, and hopefully we get an opportunity to kill him off later. Okay, so away to the Curia he goes. He is currently unassigned. Just make sure you don't draw any Macedonian wars between now and the last 2 rounds. Okay, so let's finish off Tiberius Cornelius's turn. Clout Gang says, go Rome. Pharaoh Crab says, Rome Invicta. So good news that we're not seeing any more negatives so far. Would you like to make a persuasion attempt today, Tiberius Cornelius?
No, I'll pass, thanks.
All right, and would you like to roll for a knight?
I would.
Good. Who's going to be doing that roll today?
I will Achilles again.
Achilles, all right, go ahead and roll your 1d6. You're looking for a 6 to be a winner. You get a 4. Another 4. There's a lot of repetition going on here. Unlucky there. Would you like to change your faction leader?
No.
And because there's no money anywhere else for you to speak of, that will conclude your turn. Okay. All right. We've got 2 more to go. 2 more draws from the deck. We don't want any more war cards. Okay. No more war cards to keep this sane and in the area of probability of success. Okay. House of Julii under Lucius Julius. Please roll your 2d6. Let's see how we go. You will get yay! That's positive. You get a 7. That can be a good thing. That can be a good thing. We're not seeing a card drawn. Everybody breathes a collective sigh of relief. We're now. I'm going to adjust the view for everyone here. So everybody, just bear with me a moment, and I'm going to change everyone's view to have a look at the random events table. So now what I'm going to do is going to get our good friend from the House of Julii here to now roll a 3d6, please, and we'll see what we get. Okay, please go ahead and roll a 3d6. You will roll a 14.
That's really good.
That's a good one. That is a good one, ladies and gents. So I'm now going to dive into the event deck and pull out the new alliance. So that is a great roll, yes. Great cards. You should be very happy with that.
We remember that from the first round.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm going
away from disaster.
So I'm going to have a look
Return
inside
them to the Shadow Realm.
Yes. All right. Let's see if I can spot it. Let's have a look through here. What's it called? New Alliance. Yeah.
New Alliance. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you remember the image? I think it was it the Italian Peninsula? That's manpower shortage. You don't want that one.
Yeah.
If you have a look as well, Marcus Decimus. See who can find it first.
I just put it away.
Oh, hang on.
Because I knew what it did, so I didn't care.
That's the Maritime Alliance. We don't want that one. Oh, hang on. There might be it here. No, Republic Restored. No, not yet. Is it this one? No, Rise from Refuge.
Let's see. It might even be on top. Another alliance. New alliance.
Oh, you got it? If you drag it to the sandpit.
There we go.
I found the cards. I thought you would just have like the picture. If you look at my view.
No, if you drag it out of the deck and put it into the sandpit for us, I can't see it.
Where's the deck? Sorry, I wasn't even looking there.
Oh, sorry.
Physical cards.
Oh, you're looking at the bottom right is. I think you should be able to choose from the deck. Sorry, I thought you actually found it in the digital deck.
Scan that online and copy it in.
Be nice to actually pull the card out. Have a look. Allied desserts. No, that's not it. I'm gonna have to start going through it one by one. I can't remember what the image was.
Draw.
Yeah, drag it out if you found it. Yep.
Okay, I see. I'm working on it.
Yep.
I think I saw it, but then I threw it back in.
That's Allied Enthusiasm. We don't want that one. So what is it called? New Alliance. That's the one we're searching for, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm just going to double check it's not in the discard pile. Can you just stop flicking for a minute?
Okay.
Yeah, it might be because we did use it.
Yeah, I think it might be in the discard pile. Here we go. I'm just going to have a look here. Yeah, I can see it might be in here.
We use it on the Gaul.
What? Everything's coming in the discard pile. Are you deleting stuff from the deck, are you?
I don't believe so.
It's weirdly popping in the discard. That doesn't matter. What are we looking for? Oh, I found it. Here it is. Here we go. Cease looking.
Looking ceased.
Okay, so we'll let this freeze up and do its loading. Here we go. Gosh, that took forever. Good news always takes a long time, doesn't it? So we'll allow it to load because it's all freezing right now. There we go. So For some reason, it's my view's gone weird. So let me do a reset here. This is a classic roll 20. I'm gonna do a reconnect. Let's see if this fixes everything up. Anyway, we can read the card. Can you guys see the New Alliance card in the sandpit? Where is it there? Can you guys see it? If Marcus Decimus, if you can put the civil unrest card away. I think you can delete that card, the civil unrest one. Okay, so New Alliance reads, and this is just a reminder, but we've had this one before. So, a neutral state sides with Rome, shifting the balance of power. The enemy sues for peace. Must be applied to a war or revolt of the HRAO's choice at the end of the Senate phase. So at the end of the Senate phase, the state collects half of any spoils of war, rounded down, shuffle the war in the top 6 cards, blah, blah, blah. But any chosen naval victory marker will be lost. So in terms of cards that you could have drawn, this is the best event card you could have drawn with your circumstance. You guys are so lucky, right?
What happens to an enemy leader if we put? Does he go back into the?
Go to the Curia.
The Shadow Realm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Straight to hell.
So it must be applied to a war
Crush.
or revolt. Yes, that's right. So and then the enemy leader goes back to the Curia, eligible to be, prosecuted, right? Well, not prosecuted, but killed off, which is really good. So
Straight to jail.
I'll now go and hide the event decks away again, so it's not in our way.
Yeah, I don't think we're feeling very lucky, but anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that is good.
Okay,
Quick point
now that we're here, let me just do another sound check. Make sure I've still got everybody successfully on here. Very good. I got a weird roll 20 window. Just dealing with there we go. All right, now I've got no. All right, I got rid of my card problem. Okay, so where is that? That's perfect. All right, it's still there. Just checking your audio levels. I see we've had a rejoin from Numerous Aurelius. I'll just unmute him for my purposes. Perfect. Okay, let's finish off your initiative there, House of Julii. So, would you like to make a persuasion attempt today?
I will. Numerous, did you want to say something? No?
No, all good?
Okay. All right. I thought he was trying to do a point of order. No, I will not be doing a persuasion attempt.
Okay, and would you like to roll for a knight today?
I will. Cato the Elder.
Okay, and go ahead and roll a 1d6. You're looking for a 6, you get a 4. Unlucky there. Would you like to change your faction leader today?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
You are fine today. And you're not going to be sponsoring any games. There's no other money there to speak of. Okay. All right. Justitia Meritia faction, Marcus Decimus, last roll for the round.
Last roll.
Here we go. 2d6. Let's see what you get. A 5. 5. So we are going to be drawing cards. So the usual, I'm going to bring out the Early Republic deck. Make sure you don't click on the deck. Just hover over it with the mouse. A little window will pop up. Click the draw button. It should be the only link. Put sticker number 1 in the box, and then that'll go into your hand, and then you can tell us the good or bad news, okay?
Let's do it.
There we go. The Early Republic deck's now seen for you. And he's got it in his hand. All right. Is it red text or black text?
It is red text.
Oh,
yes!
Wow. Holy dooly, you guys are lucky. You guys are so lucky.
Rome back on top, boys. We're back on top.
Praise Faisal.
I guess it gives you some options. Let's finish off his initiative and let's talk about that. So, would you like to make a persuasion attempt today, Marcus Decimus?
Not at this stage, thank you.
Okay. And would you like to roll for a knight?
I would.
Who will be making that roll today?
Quintus.
Quintus is in fact eligible. You can roll a 1d6 and you get a 4, which is unlucky there. Would you like to change your faction leader today?
I would.
Okay, go ahead and change your faction leader to your desired senator, and you won't be sponsoring any games right now, as that is the end of the money. Right, so that concludes all the initiatives. Let's put Rome in order. Okay, so if you're looking at your cheat sheet, first of all senators who are holding a major office need to take a major corruption marker, one of the red ones. You can find those on the left and right side of the board. So if you have a purple office marker, be it Rome Consul, Field Consul, Censor, Pontifex Maximus, Master of Horse. Make sure you grab yourself a major corruption marker and stick that on your senator.
Oof. Maybe look at my faction.
Yeah, there are lots of corruption from pre-Byzantium. All right. Everybody's concessions are already revealed. So Flaminius is going to get a major corruption marker from the House of Incognita. Let's have a look. Who else is getting one? Yes, Scipio Africanus is going to get one. You can leave his dictator token on there for now. Yeah, that's right. Master of Horse gets one. Rome Consul gets one. Pontifex Maximus gets one. And Julius is going to get one as well. Shall I get that marker for you, Marca Wedia? I'll get that.
Yeah, I'm actually having trouble seeing the screen. The Roll20 is black and it says loading reading core rulebooks. So I'm just trying to wait for it to reload. Is there anything else I should do?
Nah, that's okay for now. I'll drag that token for you. Yeah, just let yourself reload back in.
It does take a while?
Yeah, it does take a while. Yeah. If not, okay. Go ahead and hit F5 and refresh your page now. Come back in and refresh that way. Sometimes it'll do some funny things there. Pharaoh Crab says, corruption. Somebody call Cicero. All right, so everybody's got their corruption markers. Very good. Okay, so we don't have the Second Punic War active, so we don't need to consider the destruction of any farms yet, which is good. And now we're also going to see if we can get rid of some enemy leaders, which is really good here. So who's our highest ranking available officer right now in Rome?
That's me, the Roman Consul Copernicus.
Okay, so what we're going to do is you need to line up your 1d6 ready to roll. We're going to see if we can get rid of Philip V. You need to roll a 5 or a 6 to get rid of Philip V. Roll me a 5 or a 6.
I don't know what the Roman god of luck was, but I'm afraid of him. Just give me a second.
Fortuna.
Fortuna? All right. Well, you would know, right?
For Quintus Octavius, available. So those in Rome. You get up. Oh, just missed it. Unlucky. So Philip V lives for to see another day. So no luck getting rid of the enemy leader. Rats. Okay, at this point in time, I'd like all players to update their faction votes and faction influence tallies, please. So if you go ahead and do that, so do your total count. So let's talk about votes. Remember, it's all of your knights plus your oratory all added up together. Knights and oratory will give you your total faction votes, and your faction influence is all the individual influences added up for each of your senators. So if you'd like to go ahead and do that now, and while you guys are doing that, I'm going to punch out a quick ad break. So please stick around if you're in chat. Help us raise some revenue for Nova Roma and the channel. That'll be for a minute while we let our senators do some calculations, and we'll be back very shortly. I think if you're subbed, you don't have to watch the ads. You can watch us do some thinking and token moving, but we'll be back really soon. All right, commercials are on.
What's the popularity go towards, or it doesn't?
So popularity, if you have a look at your little white sheet in your playing area, your little white cheat sheet, I can bring that up for everybody on the screen right now. Yep. That'll show you what influence, popularity, and talents are used for.
I believe the vote tally table is fixed.
Okay.
Wasn't.
Now, if there's knights on a senator who is currently away, would that still count towards it, or would that be?
No. So that senator and all their knights, their votes don't count.
Okay. So yes, this is currently should be sorted.
Good. Did you manage to get back in, Marquedia? Oh, hang on. Yeah. Let me fix that up there. Yeah. You need to unmute yourself, Marquedia.
I don't think there's any change to my influence.
Let me double check for you. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You're going to increase your influence by 1. I'll help you out there. I'll get that done for you. 7.
Decimos, I think I'm going to need a clasp for my Punic War medal.
Yeah, you're predicting another war coming?
I was going to say, now that I believe I should be awarded 2 medals for the same war, I think I'll be needing a clasp for my...
I don't know if we should be awarding medals to losers.
It's
feels a bit wrong.
It's a campaign medal, okay?
Jeez.
The other thing I need to do is remove your manpower shortage as well, because that no longer applies. I can move that away. Let me move that down here.
Point of order: can we vote to strip failures of their medals?
Look, if a presiding magistrate puts that up as a proposal, that is something that can be voted upon. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. So.
That would be a valid minor proposal. Yeah.
I have to think about that one. Send me a whisper, guys, if you'd be interested in such a vote, in such a proposal.
Oh dear! Okay, all right, let me look in the chat. All right, all my senators, give me a thumbs up when you're finished and all your votes and influences updated. We've got 1, 2, 3. I need more thumbs up. 4, 5. Tiberius Cornelius, is that a thumb up? I see a finger. Tiberius Cornelius, come in over. Yes, there it is. Got the thumb. Perfect. All right. Everybody is now updated. Now I hear that Quintus Octavius, you updated the vote tally tracker. Is that correct?
I believe I have everything but the away one.
Good. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much the total minus Fabius. The total minus Scipio, really. And Scipio accounts for 6 votes. Yep. So your total minus 6 will give you your available votes. Has everybody updated their position on the influence tracker as well?
Correct.
Good. That's down in the.
There's a lot of movement in that one.
Yeah. It's funny. I've still got that new alliance card stuck in the middle of my screen. It's quite funny. Can you guys see that event card anywhere?
Nope.
No.
I'm not sure where it is. When I do a refresh, I'll find it. Well, we know what the card says, so that's okay.
Yes.
But a funny Roll20 corruption. Okay, so now that concludes our forum phase. Unless there's anything that I've missed. Salve to Quaestor Gaius Sempronius Skepsis Agricola, the man of many names and the #1 position holder on bits. Welcome back to the channel this evening. Great to have you on board and joining us here. You would have missed it before, but they suffered yet another disaster on another war. But thankfully, in this forum round, they only drew 1 war card, which means they only need to obtain 1 victory in order to remain in the game in the next combat phase. Ideally, if they can, they'll try and defeat 2 wars, but if they can defeat just the 1, they'll hang on by a thread. Poach Trout says he thinks the event card is in the forum, but it is very small. Maybe, but yeah, it's following my view around. You can see it following my view. That's fine. That's all right. We'll work that out later. Okay, let's move on to the population phase. Okay, for every drought and unprosecuted war, we're going to see an increase in the unrest level. So we have 2 unprosecuted wars right now. We're going to see the unrest level go from 1 to 3. If I could ask Pre-Byzantium and Numerius Aurelius, could you please update the unrest level to 3, please?
Yes,
Thanks to our unprosecuted wars.
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. Then we're going to talk about the State of the Republic address. What I'm going to do is I'm going to align the view ready and having a look at the respective table under the population phase, so we can determine what the result will be when that roll is made. But at this point in time, we're going to hand over to the highest ranking available officer in Rome, which is the current Rome consul, to now make his State of the Republic speech before he does his roll. So over to you, Rome Consul.
Thank you, my friends, my fellow senators, my fellow Romans. We stand here at a precipice today. We have fought wars over and over, year after year, and we have failed. Mars has not been with us, and he has not been kind upon us. But today, things are looking up. We have a naval victory. We have allies that are on our sides. We have a united republic pushing the Roman unrest level down. We have senators who have come together to focus on the common good. And I know together, moving forward, that we are going to win these wars and we are not going to lose anymore. I am faithful of our warriors, of our leaders, of our generals, and I know that we are going to be victorious. And I ask all of you to support the Roman victory effort and to make sure that we can send these Syrians, these Illyrians, these I don't know what you call Punic people.
Carthaginians.
Carthaginians, that's correct, yes. We're going to send them back to where they came from and ensure that Rome is victorious over them. So, my friends and fellow Romans, let us do this with haste and with great glory.
All right. So, what is the popularity of your Rome consul?
That is 4. Popular. 4.
4. So we're going to see a modifier of plus 1 when we minus the unrest level from your popularity. So you want a 3d6 plus 1. Thank you for your wonderful speech. 3d6. Roll away. Let's see what you get.
Oh, good.
You get an 8 plus 1 is 9. We're going to see an increase of plus 2 to the unrest level, but no man shortage, which is good for you guys. So,
Yes.
Pre-Byzantium, if you could please update the unrest level and increase it by another 2.
Can do.
That's it's not the worst. It's not the worst roll.
No, at least we don't have a manpower shortage.
Right, that's
probably the most important thing.
Right, you guys have lined up pretty well. There's no manpower shortage. There's only one war drawn this forum phase. In terms of good luck stuff, that's well. So we are now live and truly into the Senate phase. Like normal, we're going to conclude at the end of the election of the consuls. So over to the presiding magistrate now to run his Senate.
Thank you. So just a quick. I'd like to have a quick discussion about this, just on people's ideas of what we're going to do with the wars. Are we going to, considering the situation with the wars, are we going to just aim to 1 war, for 2 wars? What are people's general feelings about what we're going to do?
What are we going to use our allied card for? I think that's...
Yes, so I guess quick point of order. Who decides on the allied card? Is that me? Is that whoever, if we elect a dictator?
If I remember correctly, at the end of our current Senate phase, whoever is the highest ranking officer at the time will make that decision.
So that's not now, that's in the future.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So my recommendation is we use it on the Syrian war and then pour all our strength into Punic War.
So I think that's a good point, because if we use the allied card, we immediately gain half the money. So we gain 22 gold when we do that. And then the Punic War.
We also consign the leader back to the Curia and give ourselves a chance of topping him up.
Yeah, I think I agree with the idea of using our alliance against the Syrian war. My only concern about going against the Punic War is we will not have Scipio to be able to be the general against that war. If I understand the process is correct, we'll have to elect the dictator before we're able to recall the senator to Rome to take up the post.
Right. So as a point of interest, so as a proposal, you can recall him. Now I have to check the rules, but I'm pretty sure that you can then send him out again as a well, he's not a consul, so no, that rules that out. Right. Your only option is for him to continue to fight the Syrian war or nothing at all.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's right.
So quick question, a point of order. If we leave the Punic War as it ages up, is that going to have any negative consequences?
There's a possibility of drawing another leader, and there is also the second Punic War in the deck.
Okay. Well, I guess with the issue of the dictator, it might be beneficial if we're going to use the allied card on the Syrian war to try and fight the Gallic War and the Illyrian War at the same time, since they're fairly weak together. So what are people's thoughts on that? Because obviously if we can't use a dictator, then we need to, well, I guess we can choose somebody else to be dictator.
Yeah, we can choose somebody else.
Okay.
With high military, right?
Yes, but we wouldn't want to fight.
That's right. So We could choose another dictator with a high military.
Yes, we just wouldn't want to fight the Punic War, though, because we get the benefits of Scipio Africanus in nullifying those disaster ratings. So it would have to be still... I mean, we can still get the benefits of the Master and the Horse and the Dictator's military in fighting, but under that situation, I'm assuming that we would be fighting the Gallic Wars then and the Illyrian War.
Yeah, I think also just maybe more playing a devil's advocate, just to kind of role play the scenario. If we use the alliance card to remove the Punic War, which obviously removes our naval victory, stay in mind. We then continue to prosecute the Syrian War and defeat that, leaving only 2 weak wars left.
But that means we'd have to redo the fleet war, right?
Yes.
Which is very expensive.
Yes, but that's why I just thought I wanted to roll through that idea as well.
Yeah, it's worth considering that structural advantage we have by having a naval victory. I don't think we can.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's 10 fleets that we would need. So that's 100 talents worth that we've saved by keeping the naval victory on there. You know, if we look at it that way.
And even though we haven't done a victory yet, there is also a chance of having a victory with losses.
Yes. So I guess the question is, how many forces will we need to prosecute both the Gallic War and the Illyrian War at the same time? So we don't need any.
Yeah.
So in the interest of time, folks, don't worry too much about total force numbers and that. Just think about who your generals are going to be, and think about who's going to be the consuls and the dictators, and you need to work on that right now. Save the discussion on raising forces and which one to prosecute when you get to that point in the Senate, I'd argue.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we get to the consul stage now, then over the next period of time, we can start working that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think if we were looking to prosecute 2, we would have the dictator and master and horse prosecute 1 war, and then you would have the field consul prosecute the 2nd war. So we should ensure that the field consul is another senator with a high military rating, because they'll be standing alone.
Okay.
Well, that is true. Although so far with our wars, we've tried skill. And it hasn't really paid off.
Let's try to become an underdog.
It's a kind of phrase that won't be used for a couple of millennia. I prefer my generals to be lucky. How can we maximise our luck?
Well, as a suggestion, I think somebody with a name like Fury should be going out to fight a battle. I
tend to agree.
I think we need to.
Furious would make a fighting field console.
Sounds like it.
Okay. Is that the wrong one?
No, Furious, Fortunatus Despair. He's got a military of 3.
I pulled up Fullius. Yes, this is the one.
Look at this guy's face. I mean, he's.
There we go.
Look at him. He's straight out of Central Casting, isn't he? He looks like a general.
Who's gonna stand up to that?
Look at the fearsome look in his eye.
Don't mess with me, that says.
So. All right.
So I think we do. I mean, we obviously can't keep having the same people conducting wars in the Senate in terms of influence spread, which seems to be quite large at the moment. So it's certainly a factor we need to consider. So
I'd argue it's not. You guys need everything you can. I don't know. There's a time for politics later, and right now is not that time. I don't know. That's my opinion.
After two defeats,
2 disasters.
2 disasters.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. The earthquakes and the wood rot.
Well,
yes.
I think.
But the Romans were superstitious people, so I don't know. Maybe you guys are onto something.
Well, I think under that condition, I'm going to put forward 2 consuls for candidate. The first, 2 candidates for the consul. The first will be Aemilius of the House of Incognito. He has a military rating of 4. And should I wait until he comes back? And the second will be Furious of the Fortuna's Despair, military rating of 3. Perfect. So I guess that's my suggestion. That's my proposal. So I shall ask for votes. I will start with the Erudite faction. How would you vote?
I was going to say, are we putting forward anybody else at all, or are we doing it one by one?
It doesn't matter. It's whatever the proposal is that the presiding magistrate puts forward.
Yeah, if it gets voted down, then they put forward 2 others.
Correct.
Also, if everyone votes it down, then it goes to
vetoes it.
Yes. True.
Is it going to make much of a difference having somebody with a slightly higher military rating and oratory rating?
Oratory's got nothing to do with war, but the military rating does.
Well, we've got one of the suggestions has 4 military, the other has 3. It's up to the 2 consuls to work out who does who. So I guess if they want to be superstitious about Furious being the field consul, I mean, that's up to them. That's the discussion that they have. They're just simply the 2 candidates that I believe are best for the job, best for Rome.
And is anybody else going to be putting forward candidates?
It's too late now. There's a proposal on the floor.
Oh, okay.
And if you don't like those candidates, then you can vote against it or you could veto it.
Yeah.
And it's your vote there, Marco Wedia.
And do they have to both come from the same house?
Nope. They can come from the same house, different houses, different factions. It doesn't matter. Just so long as they are in Rome and they are an aligned senator. And they don't hold any other position except for censor.
Okay, so field consul would not be eligible?
Correct. You can't be consul twice in a row.
Okay. Well, then 10 votes for. We need somebody with a military rating of 4. Yes, we do.
Okay, 10 votes for. The House of Incognita, how would you like to vote?
9 votes for.
9 votes for. Fortuna's Despair, how would you like to vote?
8 votes for.
8 votes for. House of Julii, how would you like to vote?
16 votes for.
And Justitia Merita, how would you like to vote?
6 votes for.
And Pre-Byzantium faction, 7 votes for. And then I guess I shall ask the scriber to please read the results.
The votes for are 66. Votes against nil. The motion is carried.
Perfect.
Very good. All right. So the proposal for the new candidates for consuls has passed. And so who are those candidates again?
They are Aurelius, number 19.
The House of Incognita.
And Furious, number 8.
Okay, so we won't have the discussion yet about who's going to do what job, but if I could have the presiding magistrate, the Rome consul, and the field consul place their purple office tokens into the sandpit along with their plaques, so that when we do determine who the new consuls are, they'll be able to take up their posts accordingly. But we'll do that in our next session. So this is a nice time to take a break. This will give us a week for the new consuls to speak amongst themselves as to who will be who, as well as maybe discuss a potential dictator appointment, and of course give the consuls some time to think about their proposals for the coming year. All very important about which wars they wish to prosecute with which forces and when. So this will be our nice, tidy concluding point where we'll leap off and with the introduction of the Rome consul by the field consul next week, and that'll be on Monday. Are all my senators going to be here next Monday? You're all going to be here? Give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Everyone's planning to be here on Monday. So we're going to go back to our normal time slot next week. Monday, 11:30 a.m. Rome time, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I don't think there's any daylight savings time changes before then. So that's very good. Look, it was unfortunate that we had that another disaster in the last combat phase. But we've had some good circumstances leading up here. We've only drawn one extra war. Provided you guys get a victory in this next combat phase, the game will continue. And I'm very much looking forward to that when we get there and finally seeing a victory on the board. Right, so at this point in time, we're going to take a moment to transition. I'm going to say farewell to my senators in the background. Please, if you're in chat, hang around. I'm going to do my usual summary of today's outcomes and results, and we'll discuss that in chat. Yes, please don't go away. I'll be back very shortly. All right, we are back together here. Thanks for sticking around if you're still in chat. I know some of you like to hear my commentary and narration on the events that just were. Look, really unfortunate. Again, they hit another disaster, and as Marcus Decimus reminded me, they got a disaster in their last war as well. So they've hit two disasters. Yes, Poach Trout says it was quite the session, and indeed it was. They really needed that victory to sort of stay in a comfortable area. They had chosen to take on the Syrian war here. So the Syrian war had 4 bad numbers, 2 disaster numbers and 2 standoff numbers there. And it was a big chunk of numbers to not want to roll. And sure enough, they hit one. It was that they rolled a 14 disaster. This completely stops them in their tracks, losing half their forces. That was set up for a really good victory, but that didn't go. It didn't go the way they wanted. And I feel for them. The group last year suffered similar issues. It always brings into question either the luck of some individuals or if the dice system is rigged. But I keep saying the Roll20 dice system is shown to be quite random. You can see that the testing of their dice system. So they just got unlucky here. So coming out of that combat phase and moving into this next year, the big ticket item was that for every new war card they drew in the forum phase, they had to then get a victory in that coming combat phase, which they're coming up to. Thankfully, they only drew the 1 war card. So that was the first Gallic War. They were already expecting that because they'd used a previous New Alliance event to get rid of that war into the top 6 cards. And based on the previous card draw, we knew that it was going to be the first off the deck this forum phase, which it was. And then we got really lucky. So with another event draw with another New Alliance card, which I'll talk about, and then some non-war cards, we did see one enemy hero, Philip V, that's right. That's good news. So they only have a total of 4 wars now that they have to deal with, and to not be in a losing position in the coming combat phase. They just need to defeat 1 war. So be less than 4. They're in good position. But noting, and right as Poach Trouters has put in the chat, that they've got that New Alliance card as well. So that's also going to get rid of another war card. So when they conclude their Senate phase, the HRAO is going to remove another war card from the active forces box, or the unprosecuted wars box. That's going to go in the top 6. So they're going to actually bring that war count back down again. So even if they lose again in this combat phase, they are still going to be in the game. They're not going to be at that war threshold. So they did really well to luck out and draw that New Alliance card again. So well done to them for drawing that. So they are hanging on by a knife's edge or a Pugio's edge or a Gladius edge, noting that a Gladius's edge is perhaps a little bit dull compared to the tip anyway. Right, so 4 active wars on the deck. There'll be 3 at the end of the Senate phase, and then hopefully in the combat phase there'll be just 2 left, and that puts them in a better position again. But right, noting, I'll be interested to see what their choice of wars are, what they go to prosecute. Some point in the early Republic deck is the Second Punic War and another enemy hero that makes that war really difficult to prosecute. Now, depending on money and circumstances, it may get left. Now, we do have the Aging Wars rule, right? So the Punic War is currently age 2. They'd need to defeat it in the next 3 years, really, to make sure they don't lose the game. And that's a fair amount of time, but there'll still be a steady flow of wars for them to fight in the background. I think there's some Macedonian wars to come still. I'm not sure if the first Illyrian War will come out. I think it will. If we've seen the second, the first Illyrian War is somewhere in the deck as well. And then I don't know whether there's a second Gallic War in the early Republic. I can't recall off the top of my head, but that may come out and plus up the difficulty there as well. They just need to watch that unrest level so they don't get any manpower shortages and or not draw it as an event or subsequently, take on any of the droughts which could affect that unrest level. But right, as Poach Trout that said there in the chat, they need to think about continuing to pool their monies like they did in that previous revenue phase. They did well there. They'll come together to really think about both raising of and hosting of games to get the unrest level down, and then putting the popularity on the highest ranking available officer to really get the maximum benefit there. And the roll worked out in their favour. Yes, they gained 2 into their unrest levels, but they didn't get a manpower shortage or anything like that. So, I think that circumstances giving, that was a good roll. And then they donate a fair chunk of money back into the state treasury to give them what is now 174 talents in the state treasury to help fund their forces for this coming Senate and combat phase. So they'll need to continue to do that effort as a collective group again in the next revenue phase. No hoarding of money here. Pool as much as you can. Get the much popularity on the HRAO. So that's out of 2. Let's have a look at those senators. So I've got 2 new senators, albeit unknown. So Homus Novi, new first men, new nobles, taking up the cruel magistrates as consuls. We've got Aemilius, I believe it was, from the House of Incognita, and Furious. Both relatively unknown in the realm. Military ratings are 4 and 3, not the strongest out there, but they should be able to do something with that. They'll gain the consulerships there. We'll see how they do. I look forward to that. I suspect that they'll make Aemilius the field consul. I mean, that makes sense numbers-wise. Having that one additional number when you go into combat is definitely relevant. And then, of course, who's the dictator is the next question. Who's in Rome at the moment? Who's got good abilities? I'm looking at Flaminius from Justitia Marita, who's got a military rating of 5. That would make a good dictator appointment. Who else have we got? Nobody from the House of Julii, nobody from Fortuna's Despair. If we look at Erudite faction, maybe potentially Julius could take on the realm now that he's no longer consul as a rating of 4 there. And I think Fabius is eligible. So even though he's Master of Horse, I think he can still be appointed dictator. So I think he's an eligible individual there. So yeah, their dictator appointments is pretty minimal. 2, maybe 3 choices for dictator. We'll see what they come up with, unless they seem to be starting to get concerned now about the build-up of influence amongst individual factions. This is an opportunity for some people to really pull ahead, and then when all the dust is settled from the wars, then somebody's really excelling politically. I'm interested to watch Flaminius from House of Incognitas at 19, noting that 21 is when things start to get interesting in terms of, consul for life elections. Now, albeit he won't have the votes to pull that off just yet, but, always something to be wary of. I don't think there's anybody else that really comes close to that 19 influence. Looking around the field right now, maybe Scipio on 13 is probably the next closest there in terms of influence. So, yeah, fascinating. Poach Trout asked the questions. I wonder if they were thinking of dictator when electing consuls. Yeah, they didn't talk about it much. They didn't really talk about it much. They just mostly were concerned about numbers of the consuls. Look, I think if I was a choosing man, if I had a choice here, maybe Flaminius because he has that high military rating. But then the question is, who's Master of Horse? It'd be the next highest military rating. There's plenty of 3s on the board, but maybe Julius as Master of Horse would probably follow up that nicely to give you the maximum value. We'll see what they come up with. They've got a week to think about it. Discuss who's going to be which consul, week to discuss dictator appointment, and then a week to, also discuss, think about their proposals for that coming Senate phase. And I like that. I like being able to finish at the end of the consular elections. I do like to give the senators some time to think about how they going to run their Senate and whoever's going to be presiding magistrate. So that concludes my summary, I think. I really do hope they get a better outcome in this coming combat phase. But yes, that will occur this coming Monday. So we took some delays and played tonight to accommodate for some of our senators and some of their World Life events. But now we'll go back to our Monday night time slot for those in Australia anyway, or lunchtime in Roman time. And then you can translate that from wherever you are across the world watching us right now. Thanks to those who made some subs and donations in chat this evening. Very much appreciated. So shout outs to Clout Gang, Click Like for the Prime sub. That was fantastic. And Pharaoh Crab for the 1 month tier 1. That was awesome as well. And then I see there was a follow earlier on from Hoss00812. Thanks for the follow there. Much appreciated for the follow as well. Absolutely fantastic to have you all in chat. Thanks again to Poach Trout for being here and watching on. I enjoyed tonight's session. I look forward to Mondays. Be sure to watch the rest of our programming here on the channel. And if you're interested, check out novaroma.org to see what Novaroma is all about. And until next Monday, see you next time. Thanks for watching and walete.